Look what you done. Took a living woman and turned her into stone. I guess I should be thankful. You gone cause you chew with your mouth full. You, I should've run once I figured out that you can't work your tongue. I guess I should be grateful. You're gone, I mean that shit was painful. Like I said, I'm really glad you're gone, but I'm sad to to see what I've become. I was burning like a girl on fire. Then you came around and put it out. You really made me think we were lovers. I let you in and underneath my covers. All I wanted was a hot girl summer. But I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer. You really played my heart like a drummer. Mentally drained me, kinda like a plumber. All I wanted was a hot girl summer. But I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer, bummer, yeah. Who you think you are? Literally no one, if we're being honest. I guess you should be thankful. You got to spend time with an angel. You would think about me, dream about me when you're asleep. Then you wake up so empty, so cold, just like me. You really made me think we were lovers. I let you in and underneath my covers. All I wanted was a hot girl summer. But I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer. You really played my heart like a drummer. Mentally drained me, kinda like a plumber. All I wanted was a hot girl summer. But I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer, bummer, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Like I said, I'm really glad you're gone, but I'm sad to see what I've become. I was burning like a girl on fire. Then you came around and put it out. You really made me think we were lovers. I let you in and underneath my covers. All I wanted was a hot girl summer. But I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer. You really played my heart like a drummer. Mentally drained me, kinda like a plumber. All I wanted was a hot girl summer. But I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer, bummer, yeah. Baby, I don't need you to tell me you were wrong. Swear my mind erased you the moment we were done. All out of me, you're all out of me. I'm finally free, it's all good. I'll be fine, and you keep on breaking hearts for fun. 1, 2, 3. I don't wanna see your face again, and I'll never let you near my friends. It's a shame that this is how it ends, but I wanna say thank you for nothing, 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 nothing. I wanna say thank you for nothing, 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 nothing. I wanna say thank you for nothing. Shame on me for trusting a liar with my heart. Shame on you for mindlessly tearing it apart. All out of me, you're all out of me. I'm finally free, it's all good. Make believe it's all that it was right from the start. I don't wanna see your face again, and I'll never let you near my friends. It's a shame that this is how it ends, but I wanna say thank you for nothing, 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 nothing. I wanna say thank you for nothing, 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 nothing. I wanna say thank you for nothing. I wanna say it, I wanna say it. I wanna say it. Thank you for nothing. I don't wanna see your face again, and I'll never let you near my friends. It's a shame that this is how it ends, but I wanna say thank you for nothing, 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 nothing. I wanna say thank you for nothing, 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 nothing. I wanna say thank you for nothing. I wish I could be strong, survive all on my own, but now I'm
Hello and welcome to the Polaris Grand Finals for Stage 1. Today we'll be putting a cap on the end of the stage and crowning our champions of the Northern Europe Challengers League. First time I've ever actually got to do this. I'm Ryan Central, get to actually host for the first time, and joining me is somebody that's a little bit under the weather. Very typical British fashion, I suppose, but Marcus just getting back from a busy weekend. Good time, I guess, to be on the show, right? You get to cap it off with the Grand Finals.
Yeah, I feel like I've also done quite a bit of the playoffs as well, so I feel like coming here to do the finals is going to be a good send-off, and there's a few things that hopefully we can touch on later on, but there's definitely some things that may sway in Sweet and Sour's favor, but we'll talk about that later on.
I guess it's all about really expectations on who we are hoping to see here, I guess, to an extent. Like with Apex, I think not seeing them in the Grand Finals or in any of these big games in playoffs would have been a big surprise. So, quelle surprise, Apex are in the Grand Finals, of course. But for Sweet and Sour, it really is the story of David versus Goliath. And David, in this case, has been a bit of a commodity, I suppose. A team with very little experience in Tier 2, if any, with Sweet and Sour, suddenly having to come in and play up against one of the most dominant teams across Tier 2 in Valorant right now.
Yeah, and it's gonna be scary for them, right? I feel like there's definitely gonna be some things that in their mind they're gonna be like, oh boy, okay, are we now finally gonna, show everyone at home why we're the underdogs and why we deserve to be Apex. I feel like if they manage somehow to beat Apex today, then I don't know. It's the tide is turning, and we've got some new boys on the block.
For sure. And when it comes to new boys on the block, we sort of expect to see Apex here. And I think there's two other people that we expect to see when it comes to any big moments that are happening in Northern Europe. Azza and Cairo are going to be the ones on the main broadcast. And really, for both of you, I actually want to ask you this, Cairo, first. You guys were on the first broadcast of group stages, which was Metasports versus Sweet and Sour. Big upset then. At that point, would you have even guessed that Sweet and Sour would even make the Grand Finals in that fashion?
I mean, I've got a lot of support for the boys, and I try to big them up as much as possible, but no way did I even expect to see them in playoffs. Week on week, they just seem to keep growing, and I mean, they really are just this surprise package that we've been loving more and more as the weeks go on.
I'm very happy to hold my hands up. I put them bottom of my tier list when we were ranking the teams, and I think that pretty much says everything about this now. They're in the top two, and with the team that they've put together, overachieving, I think, outlasting everyone's expectations that we had of them coming into this one.
On to back two as well. One of the main things to really sort of go over is how Sweet and Sour got to the top two in the first place. They started off playoffs losing to OnlyFins, a really fun, full best of three. But in the rematch, Hazza, it was actually going the way of Sweet and Sour, and they not only won, they destroyed OnlyFins.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing about Sweet and Sour. You saw what they did in those first 4 weeks into the playoffs, a bit of a sleeping beast. And while OnlyFins had the tactical depth about them, it was a couple of little things like changing the comp on Sunset as well really surprised me. When Cara and I were looking at, VLR on the phone, what are these guys doing? They've swapped their two initiators, both Snowy and Fagan, I think it was at the time. No, not Fagan. But, do you know what I mean? They moved off two initiators that were working really well for them. And I don't know. It just felt like a really strange result.
So much to really For me, I guess in this case, Marcus, like we've got a team like OnlyFins that are just a recognized group, not even like an organization, just the unsigned team that's been in Polaris however long, versus Sweet and Sour, very new. The old versus the new seem to be the best way to suit it up. We saw OnlyFins trying to change up the comps, like Hazza mentioned, and ended up, it seemed, falling into Sweet and Sour's favor, right?
I don't really understand the reasoning behind the switch up, I'll be honest to you. I feel like usually if you're going to make any switches, you'll do it to the start of playoffs, right? Like that only seems normal. But to go into what is potentially one of their most important games, to actually box off a very good season against Sweet and Sour, you know, being unbeaten against them, to then doing these changes, I don't know. Obviously, there's gonna be method behind the madness, right? But also, I think it's very important to note that when Afen has a good game, I feel like Sweet and Sour are more successful. I've been looking over at some of his stats, and it seems like when he has a quiet game, they're not as successful, right? I'm not gonna put the whole game onto the back of Afen, but when you do look at those stats, it's like, okay, if Afen hasn't performed too well, they tend not to win.
For sure. Looking at the playoff bracket, I think the thing that has been consistent throughout is Apex's dominance, not dropping a map at all, never mind a series throughout the entirety of stage one. Cairo, simple question. Do you think that Apex is going to drop a map at all in this grand final, or are they going to have the cleanest streak that any team could possibly hope for when it comes to playing in the Challengers Leagues, and I guess pre-Ascension as well?
I mean, I don't know if they will drop a map. I hope that Sweet and Sour can bring the upset, but with such a dominance, I mean, they've yet to drop a map. They've been pushed to the limits, overtime, the likes, but I mean, what more can you expect of the Norwegian organisation and the boys that are on it?
Hazza, in a word, yes or no, Apex going to be dropping a map today?
Yes. Sweet and Sour got really close. They were one off map point last time and they fumbled an eco. If we don't see similar kind of mistakes made, I think that map could have looked way cleaner than it did. And the trend tends to be that if you come out of the regular season flawless, you go into playoffs and even maybe a grand final and lose a map here and there. That's how it works in the best of five historically. But look, we can throw that all out the window. History meant nothing in Ascension last year.
Yeah, and with new faces, old faces, all the same showing up here, it is going to be definitely one to keep an eye out for. But I'll let you guys sort of prepare. Looking forward to the cast, you guys capping off a really good stage for us. So I'll let you guys get going. So really, it's the only match today to focus on, right? It is just that main game, Apex versus Sweet and Sour. Apex expected to be here. Sweet and Sour, there might be lots of people coming in pre-America's VCT Super Week that might be wanting something to watch. Marcus, sort of sum up what we could expect from Sweet and Sour.
Sweet and Sour, I feel like it's hit and miss. It's hit and miss. They're definitely very confident. Most certainly Afen. We've had his interview a couple of times, and he is just bubbling with confidence. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if this is an exact quote, and he was like, look, OnlyFins, they are not going to get lucky again. There is no way we lose to them. And, well, he was correct. He was correct.
The problem, however, is playing up against these guys. Not only are they familiar names if you've been following VCT EMEA pretty much since its inception, but it's also teams that have a lot to prove. You're looking at Evolver, Molsey, playing in Tier 1 last year, not really living up to expectations considering the excitement around their initial teams or even previous accolades when it comes to people like Evolver. Here, really we're expected Apex to be ones really pushing for Ascension, not only to be qualifying out of this Northern Europe region, but also to be winning Ascension when they got so close last year. With this team, they've made some adjustments. No face is the same from that last team of Apex. Is this team something that you're more confident in maybe winning Ascension in comparison to maybe like last year, right?
Yeah, I mentioned this last time I was on the desk here. It's a tough one, right? Because I feel like that we obviously lost a couple of teams from Polaris last year that I think were very good contenders for Apex, right? And I feel like coming into this, I feel like Apex, on paper, the players that they have and the Tier 1 experience they have, I feel like on paper, it's kind of meant to be annihilation, right? And of course, I don't want to steal this from Hazza, but I saw him tweet earlier on, and if they manage to win this 3-0, they will make history in one of the only teams, or the only team, that has never lost a map in Challengers EMEA.
Yeah, and actually to be able to do that, Apex have had a lot of win conditions, a lot of things to rely on, and I think none have come out better than Soulcast. Not only being the MVP of the group stages in stage 1, he's pretty much looking to be informed to be the MVP of the whole stage with how well he's been performing. He's been back on the duelist role, which we haven't seen since the very early stages of Team Liquid, but he's also been flexing onto multiple roles and looks like one of the best players in Tier 2 Valorant across the globe right now.
Yeah, I mean, him being able to go from solo one game to raise the next and still absolutely top the leaderboards, it's crazy. And this graphic, obviously, right here, you guys might be looking at it a bit. Okay, I'm a bit confused. But this on the left here, we have the group stage, or the normal split, right? And then on the right, we have playoffs. And when you compare these two, Ryan, I mean, he has not dropped off at all. It's like consistent performance across the board.
I mean, he hasn't dropped off at all. Like, for Soulcast, his only real pro experience in Valorant was Team Liquid. He was on it pretty much since the start. Had to go into this year under a new organization. But seeing Soulcast not only just get over a lot of stuff that's been happening this year so far, you've seen him post the fact that he's aim training, working with people to keep improving as a player. But when it comes to Apex improving beyond what they have at the moment, there's not really much of a better stat line that you can look at, is the fact that Apex haven't dropped a map at all. And this isn't just them holding on to say just playing a lot of Icebox and stuff. They're refusing to go to other places. That they have been pretty open to trying out different maps and trying to basically play as much as possible, try out various different compositions. The only one we haven't seen is Split, which has been their main permaban. But in all honesty, it wouldn't surprise me if Apex go, you know what, let's pull it out. Let's see what we can get done on this map.
I mean, obviously we've seen Sweet and Sour on Split, right? And it was Sweet and Sour versus OnlyFins. They played Split, right? So we know that Sweet and Sour can play Split, and yes, it's been shaky at times. But like we said, Apex are gonna have something planned for Split, and you said they might pull it out. We might even see them just keep on permabanning it until, if they're this confident, until they make it to Ascension. Because imagine not having any data to go off when they make it, if they make it to Ascension, and then they just come out and pick Split against one of the teams, and they're like, oh god, we literally do not know what they play. But when you look at Split, it's one of those maps that I really think you have to be very, very smart when it comes to the micros and the macros.
Which is something that I feel if there's a map to avoid for Apex, I'm quite surprised it's been that one. But I guess the point overall is we've seen stuff like Bind not being played by this team, and then actually them picking it and showing it as late as playoffs, actually. But their opponent, Sweet and Sour, not quite the same level with Apex, what that name brings, I suppose, to not only Polaris, but into the Tier 2 side of EMEA. Sweet and Sour, none of these players really having solid Tier 2 experience to work with, and we've seen them upset again and again, and them making top 2 is a phenomenal start for these guys. It's really the first time that we've seen them play on a stage like this, and they are just behind Apex.
Yeah, and I feel obviously before coming into this, you've never really heard of these guys, right? As someone that obviously has played ranked, you do know of these guys, and they're absolutely fantastic when it comes to their mechanical ability. And when they came together as a team of 5, they've impressed us. Yes, there's been times when it's oh boy, what's happening? But across the board, when you look at Sweet and Sour, you're like, yeah, these guys have potentially got what it takes. And even if they don't take the win today, they need to be very, very happy with second place, because you compare the team they're up against. Do you know what I mean? You can't fault really how far they've come.
Yeah, it's fair enough if the book stops here at this point, because there's really not much else that's expected. But I think when it comes to looking at where Sweet and Sour might want to take this themselves, their map pool isn't as squeaky clean as Apex is, for example, but some of these maps are of Split, Sunset. There's been a lot of series that we have seen Sweet and Sour lose to opponents like OnlyFins, but as soon as we get that rematch, Sweet and Sour are the ones that come back on top. So not as perfect, but it's improving and it's iterating well on some of the early mistakes that this team has made on all of these maps across stage 1.
Yeah, I want to see a Breeze or an Ascent. I know it's 100% win rate, but Breeze against Apex, I feel like they've obviously got some recent data. When Apex did play against, it was only Finns, I believe, and Apex had a fantastic first half, and the second half, it was like, okay, only Finns they've got the ball rolling now, and I feel like if Sweet and Sour were to pick their 3-0 map, which they should be very confident on, I feel like they could probably combine that with anti-stratting some of the stuff Apex did, and maybe we'll see Breeze or Ascent be the one that Sweet and Sour could pick up.
Now, when it comes to a grand final, you could talk about how fast-paced it could be, how much energy it is. It's a fun head-to-head to watch for the Sentinels because it is hype versus tempo. What can we expect to see from both of these two players, from Apex and Sweet and Sour, when they're mostly playing that Sentinel role? Not the flashy stuff like the Duelist. These guys feel like the backbone of both teams.
Yeah, for sure. And it's I don't wanna make this punny, right? But tempo tends to decide the pace of, at least for his team, because sometimes if Ticey isn't managing to find the entries, tempo is there to create that space by getting a great lurk or just by getting a straight up aim duel and opening up the map. And that's one thing that I always said whenever I was being able to come on the desk when I was watching Sweet and Sour. It's if Ticey isn't having one of the greatest games, tempo's always there to back him up. But then when you look at Hype, he kind of does have a very similar play style, but more often than not, you'll see Hype get these, like, I'm not gonna say it, it's punny. You'll see these incredible clutches, these very hype clutches from I said it, from Hype, right? But yeah, two people that can definitely, most certainly control the pace of the game. And then we have Kayak and Ticey. Obviously, I mentioned Ticey, and I've said how Ticey can have some absolutely incredible games. Like, look at his first blood percentage. His first death percentage is fairly high. But then when you compare that to Kayak, Ryan, look at it. It's insane.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to picking up unsigned talent, like, we've already highlighted some of the players when it comes to the tier 1 experience of Apex, right? 3 players that were in EMEA of last year, now relegated to an extent to playing in tier 2 with Apex. You've highlighted the 2 players from Apex that weren't playing tier 1 last year. You've got Kayak, who is the newest kid on the block that can really shine in that duelist role. A lot of players and a lot of teams are going to be looking at. But also Hype, who we have seen play in tier 1, albeit a while ago, that is just being there consistently and is often underrated to maybe look at how good he can be to reach finals like this, and also Ascension and the like potentially for Apex in the future. For the Veto, it's a tough one. We've seen this a couple of times in various Valorant events. Apex being the higher seed and coming in through the upper bracket. They get the choice to take out 2 maps, and they're starting with Ascent. Do we expect to see Split to be the second one, right?
Yes. Yeah, okay. So what they've done here is they've taken out Ascent. Obviously, Split, we spoke about it, it's their permaban, but they've taken out Ascent, which Sweet and Sour haven't lost on yet, which is smart. And then they've come in with the Icebox. Now, for Sweet and Sour, Icebox, they are currently 0-3, I believe. Now, the Apex are going in hard early. All this is saying to me is that all they want to do is start off 1-0, because picking Icebox, yes, it's one of their best maps and one of Sweet and Sour's worst. I mean, but you've already taken out Ascent and Split as well. And then obviously we then get Lotus from Sweet and Sour. I like Lotus. I like the pick. I'm not too sure why they never opt for Breeze as their first pick, but you know, they obviously have the method in their head. Then we have Sunset, which is Apex second map pick, and then we have Bind. I think this is I don't know, it's so difficult every single time I say this when you're up against Apex. I want to say Sweet and Sour potentially have a game here, when like they can take a game. But then it's Apex. It's so difficult to say.
Viva Apex is literally their most played maps to begin with, and then it's slowly going down and down. But we'll have more to show, obviously. First map being Icebox, a map that Apex have dominated on. But first, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll be beginning with the grand finals of the Northern Europe Challengers League. So we'll see you in a few.
wish I could be strong, survive all on my own, but now I'm running out of hope. I need somebody else to save me from myself, a love too precious to let go. I've been searching for someone for all my life. I keep on wondering where you hide. Nobody knows. I've been waiting for someone to come around, but I keep on wondering where you hide. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. When I was a child, I thought I'll be alright, but futures can be full of lies. Yeah, it's never easy to find what you want, and if you should find it, don't dare to let go. If you hold on tight, promise you'll be alright. I've been searching for someone for all my life. I keep on wondering where you hide. Nobody knows. I've been waiting for someone to come around, but I keep on wondering where you hide. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Should I give it up and hope for better days ahead? Or should I keep on searching for the one I haven't met? Should I keep on waiting for you, baby? Tell me when. Yeah, baby, tell me when. I've been searching for someone for all my life. I keep on wondering.
All right, welcome back. We're very quickly going to be getting into the grand final of Polaris in the Challengers Northern Europe scene. And we're starting on Icebox. This is a map where basically up until like week 5, week 6 of the regular season, Apex not only were winning this map, they were playing it with 0 defensive side losses. They played 3 or 4 times, didn't drop a defensive round because they were winning like 13-3, 13-4. Sweet and Sour, they've been on the wrong end, I suppose, of Apex already this stage. I don't think Icebox was one of the maps that was played between the two, but right now, at least, it seems that Sweet and Sour might be able to fight back a bit more, albeit this map's not necessarily gone well for them.
Yeah, I mean, they do run the Harbor comp on Icebox as well. Yes, they haven't won a game yet, and I'm interested to think, will they take an only Finns approach and maybe change something up? Hopefully not, because I feel like as long as they believe in what they've been picking recently, then it should work. And there we are. We see it straight away. Athens still on the Harbor, which is fantastic to see. So kind of like a normal comp for Sweet and Sour. And then you look at Apex, they've got a Harbor as well, and the Yoru, which is one of Kayak's most recent favorite duelists, I believe.
Yeah. So Sweet and Sour being able to choose the side as well. Most teams would typically go to start on defense first, get your sort of like eggs in order. Sweet and Sour, typical to how they've played this stage, going on the attack, wanting to lead the pace a little bit more. The main difference is that Euro versus Jet on both sides. When it comes to a player on Sweet and Sour to really give the game here for Apex, to give them not only their first maybe map loss on Icebox, but their first map loss at all this stage, what player from Sweet and Sour are you looking at to be the difference maker? Is it the duelist getting the kills? Is it the calling from the IGL? What aspect of Sweet and Sour needs to be on key for this attacking side?
It's Athan. Like, when I mentioned this earlier on, whenever I see Sweet and Sour play, and if Ethan has a slow start to his game, I feel like not only is that going to affect his calls, but it's also going to obviously have a domino effect for his teammates, right? I feel like it's very similar to Angel, you know? If he doesn't have one of the greatest games, I feel like it then has that domino effect. And we saw it last time that Sweet and Sour played. Ethan had a fantastic series, and they dominated.
Who do you think the pressure's on more this series, right? Because I think Sweet and Sour getting here feels like it's enough. Like, people get to see them on, like, the main stage, top 2 teams in this region, full stop. They're playing up against Apex. The expectations on them to do damage here is pretty slim. But on the other side for Apex, they haven't really been challenged that much outside of a couple of overtime shaky maps, potentially. But, like, this is the big games where we see a lot of teams potentially choke. Like, who's going to feel this more, Sweet and Sour or Apex for you?
I think it's quite split. I do think it's quite split. Excuse the pun, obviously. There's no split here. But no, I do think it is very split. I think, like you said, I think Sweet and Sour making it to this spot already, they kind of have nothing to lose, right? They're already going to get some great points for the split. They're going to have good practice against Apex. And then, on the other hand, you have Apex. Have they even felt pressure at all the whole split? Which is what I want to know, right? Because if they're gonna go into this game with pressure, but they've done the whole split without pressure, I don't know.
Yeah, it's tricky. Well, we're heading to the Icy Barons of Icebox, and Sweet and Sour hoping to sort of try to heat things up a little bit on their attack side. When it comes to anything to do with Polaris, anything to watch it, you're always going to expect these two guys to be the shining stars of the cast. It's Haz and Caro.
Thank you so much, guys. Far too kind. But as we're on for another grand final, we usher in a new era of Polaris this time around. Looking at the teams, these two rosters could not be any more different from one another. For Apex, the question was always going to be, what do you do after Doomsday arrives? That roster, which was destined for ascension, never returning from Berlin as champions. And Sweet and Sour on the opposite side, well, what can we say about them?
I mean, has from unsigned puggles to runners-up in Beacon, now actually perhaps runners-up in Polaris. They won't want it to be that case. They were the business boys, and they'll want it to be sweet as possible in this grand finals.
Yeah, Apex, a roster which was rigorously planned down to the very last details, whereas Sweet and Sour, they only had 2 weeks to practice with their final 2 players which they collected after winning the Beacon split, or coming second in it, I should say, that we spoke about. That qualification ticket, the most important, as the new boys on the block, this is maybe out of their depths.
It could be. I mean, that's what you're looking at. I mean, we would think towards that last time that these two played, and that really didn't look the case, fair enough, when we started to get to the deeper waters of the second map, Hazza. That's when they got outclassed. But as for Lotus, they were definitely neck and neck with their opponents.
So here we have it. The first match in the best of 5 will start out on Icebox. Apex in a position to create history. No team has ever won the league before without dropping a map in all of EMEA challenges. Sweet and Sour have already done that. The first free agent roster to make it to a Polaris Grand Final now has the chance to take it one step further.
Big look towards Ticey here. They've fed him a ghost and let him buy up those light shields. Last time Ticey played against Apex, he went 2-5 in entries. Needs to be big here.
Both teams playing double walls, and already you see the nuance. High tide through middle, but the turret does spot. Damage dealt. The player's still not giving up position just yet. Apex with a monopoly on middle.
Tempo aware. Just holding on.
Oh.
As the rest of Sweet and Sour scale up towards A. That's where the KG's set up. That's where Hype is having to dip out, and Tempo's going to get caught. That's a big entry from Kayak.
Overwhelmed in the middle of the map. It's a tough situation for Tempo to take. Moments like that could be the difference maker. They've lost a player here early, Sweet and Sour, but the post plant can be set up in due time.
Yeah, they've already got a flank as well. You've got to be looking at a reaction from Sweet and Sour. They have to try and take more space and at least get some real estate to work off the back of.
It's Mulsey now, the player who finds himself isolated. Hype split up and gone towards Rafters searching. There's a TP from Kayak in sight as they start to make inroads. First headshot lands, but Sweet and Sour are taking the kills. Defuse beginning to get worked on, not planted for Apen, but damage dealt, and as he doubles up, it's a 3-on-2 for Sweet and Sour. Multi with an equalizer. Kayak's feet on spot. The poles between them have to try and pull back the pistol, and Kayak's already started to do it. Famzam on the drop down, other side of the cove, misses the shot, and just like that, Apex will get the first round on the board.
I mean, that's so big from Sweet and Sour, and they make the right decisions, Hazza. They know that tempo's gone and there can be players on the flank, and immediately they pivot towards the CT space. They even get controller rafters as well, which they can start to actually put pressure onto anybody that gets on the spike. The utility good, the fight's even better. I mean, already, it's good stuff.
And look, they had that repeat matchup against OnlyFins in the lowers as well. Apex taking the pistol there, stolen away at the final moments. But what you say, of course, does carry weight. It was a surprise to any of us as much as you. Pistols in play, they got to land, and they won't to start. Mulsi with the opening pick.
Still as the pistols ring off. Just through a wall. I mean, again, like, that's what's good for the double walls. It's just the delaying and being able to use smoke and mirrors.
I know it is the pistol round, but I think it is good that we're seeing Sweet and Sour already start to manipulate the map a little bit when they're in those kinds of situations, that they don't just sweat and find themselves stuck in position. I mean, that's the tacit thing, the tact that OnlyFins brought into some of those previous matchups is the reason why we favored them a little bit more at times, despite the firepower that Sweet and Sour have.
Returning to Kayak. Already seen how good he is with a Guardian.
And Tempo's so far forward here, he's just going to be calling to the rest of the team to move on up. Unless Solkas can defend the site entry here, which we know he's capable of, it would be a highlight movie moment. It's going to be a spike planted.
30 seconds left.
Still low tempo, hasn't been tagged up, not given much away. Just wary in case anyone tries to swing through. It's nice lineups from Solkas. While the spike does go down, that's at least something for Sweet and Sour to work off of the next half.
Tempo tries to take his chance, doesn't get it, and the damage is dealt. Famzam on a fadeaway, but that is exactly it. Sweet and Sour into obscurity on the second there, but the fact that they get the spike planted will be the going rate for something like that in anti-eco.
That's it. I mean, you've got to take the wins where you can. Mavova making sure to get that outlaw in through to the next round as well, which will be obviously good for holding down one of these lanes. All in all, Apex, I mean, tidy anti-eco at the end of the day.
That's the thing about Apex as well. They're just so airtight. You see it reflected in the maps that they've had so far. Of course, again, the record last year, 26-1 coming into this. Now, the unlucky 5 almost tasked with bouncing back from the brink because the expectations are sky high, and they have certainly met them or risen above even.
Just now though, Hazza, the ultimate games that I'm looking at for Sweet and Sour. The Reckoning up and available, the Hunter's Fury one off, and straight away the 2 entries being taken and the ultimate being used.
Didn't even need the ultimate really to snatch those 2 picks. Apex played into their hands by going on the aggressive. Now on the back foot, down 3v2. Hype the only one with a rifle and looking for a fight.
Trying to scrap. The thing is, though, seems as Sweet and Sour are happy to give it completely free. Getting one back, and well, Sweet and Sour, Hazza, you know what they're like. They'll scrap if they need to, and on site they're doing so well. Avova at the back of site, it has to be 2 sheriffs to get it done now. No weapons to get picked up just yet. Still, they haven't got onto the spike, and they're wary of players being left and right and centre, and that's the case as Creamy cleans up.
Clean from Creamy, and that's exactly what you want when you've only got 3 rifles left. Look at Cash in pocket. Yeah, they had a couple of spike plants, but you want to really fixate the early economy here if you're Sweet and Sour, especially how damaging it can be to the defenders. Every advantage that you can take has to be levied against Apex. Speaking of ultimates though, they've got a couple of their own now online. Famzam 1 away from the Hunter's Fury, but that's going to make little difference in how these 2 play up against each other. A bit more of a default round, and they're back to middle here on both sides.
Lining up against one, in fact, I think Sweet and Sour, they don't want anything to do with middle. Straight away down B, they're so quick, the dimensional drift through A. Tempo is the one that's going to have to take on Kayak, and multiple players. It's Hype as well, and it's Apex to get the kill.
Unlucky Tempo. Knew that he had to isolate a fight there, put under pressure immediately by Apex, and they continue to move it forward. Ticey, elevated position, opened up by Famzam's kill. Still 3 versus 4, and look, ults have come back through, but Famzam has his own to work with here as the Reckonings just pushed them further back, but not really had any capitalization from it.
We need some initial delay from Sweet and Sour though before we can get the real value from the Hunter's Fury, and well, as the numbers begin to dwindle, it's about protecting that spot, protecting the post plan and the positions that they're at. Ape's going to get caught out, and now it's up to Famzam. No! Hype from out of screen will take out the remaining players of Sweet and Sour.
And they walk stage left and make an exit from a round which for a moment looked like it was possible. They had players on site. Apex flood back in with a Harbor ultimate. Brilliant usage of it there. And like I said, while they may have not got the stuns off the back of it, it did its job. The cascades as well. You're seeing all the different facets of Apex composition here, because what the stat line was, Cairo, in the regular season, that only one other team than Apex had actually won with double walls, and we'd seen it played plenty of times.
Yeah, it was incredible for so long. The inabilities, and it was the Sage comp hazard that was doing the business in Polaris for so long.
I mean, efficiency is the big thing, and that's something that you have to be thinking about if you're Apex as well, because as domestically dominant as they have been, it's those bigger tests which we need to see come through. And Hype has already got plenty on his plate in this round. But does he even know it? Steps a rotation, Creamy does, he'll hear it, but it's a warning call which comes too late. Hype decapitates him through middle, and Sweet and Sour committing to the B play off the back of this.
Rifles still to work with. Tempo and Ticey's the one that's with them. And that Viper Orb just helps Sweet and Sour scale up further.
Sure. And it's a situation like this as well where you don't really want to be forced to commit, because it's that util game I was talking about. Apex have barely expended any, and they've got plenty left in the woodwork. Tempo takes them to town, but only 1 kill.
Still, the spike hasn't gone down, and Apex are just respecting the harbour wall that has gone up. Don't want to cross it, don't want to be slowed down. There's even going to be the reckoning to try and dissuade them from going any further.
And again, you don't want to get caught up in moments like this. Kayak will be arriving in due course on the flank.
30
They are
seconds
starting
left.
to react here. As you mentioned, time is sensitive, but the spike will be planted. This is when the flank begins to arrive. Apex fighting on multiple fronts, but by themselves.
As all the players are out towards Snowman. Well, that's exactly what's going to happen to Sweet and Sour. They start to melt, and melt away they do. Not even a chance to get a kill towards Apex Hazard after that spike goes down.
Yeah, it kind of looked like they were trying to group up and find some extra space. You had the Reckoning come through, but the 2 players chased up by it were through middle, and yeah, like the snow pile, right? I guess that's the area you call it, orange box. But no, nothing going. Big opening kill here as well, and as I said before, it just pushed them to make this B play, which thinned the numbers out, and yeah, Kayak on the flank as well is always going to be very useful there. Even had the gate crash to just join up with the rest of his team if it was necessary, but it wasn't.
You've got to be thinking about Sweet and Sour and what happens after this round as well, has it? Are they feeling a bit frustrated? I mean, it seems if the rounds that Apexes are winning are being won without really sweating too much.
I mean, the wheels can quickly come off, but we do need to reiterate, Apex pick. Sweet and Sour stopped playing it after week 4 when they lost to Hookahs. The upper bracket advantage of the double veto is pretty huge, and you can see the wall that they're starting to use here, threatening the possibility, the pressure of a player yellow. Kayak is where this one starts, however, and seeing that turret knows there's at least one, and that would be the second player, Creamy down.
Oh, nice shot from Tempo, very clean, and so is Kayak on the other side. And we'll get traded out even between both teams though, Hazza.
Yes.
And you've got to be looking at the fact that Soulcast and Kayak are actually gone.
Hype has his ultimate, Hunter's Fury in play, but the hand, way too early. We said maybe there might be some discipline issues on the Apex side, but against Sweet and Sour, it's probably the last thing you're thinking of. A mistake made there, though. And a 3-on-2.
The players aren't getting on to this. Have to use the Hunter's Fury, and Wolf is just holding. Finally, it's going to be Ape to actually get them off the spike. But still, Mosey now into the clutch. Still got Harbour utility to stop players seeing where exactly he is, but Tempo's swinging out. We'll see exactly where to put his bullets.
Tempo takes control of the situation again. How many times can we say that he's been the point man of this side when playing a role like Sentinel. You know, first player in on so many of these rounds. They don't seem to be putting too much of a highlight on keeping map pressure everywhere else. It's like we can send Tempo in as a duelist if we want.
Yeah.
He was historically a flex player, but the role that he's filled here has been done spotlessly.
Starting to see Apex now has it. We come to the bottom of the gold pile. Soulcast being relegated onto that Guardian and Kayak, actually disrespecting the harbour utility.
Kayak up close. He's hearing the steps, knows about the turrets, blaring off in his face, but disrespects the noise. And Ticey, the loudmouth former IGL himself, is the one that opens things this time. Lockdown going off, and look, the captain wants to stay put. Mulsi's going to get caught in this, but nobody follows it up.
Because it's a fake hazard. The rest of the players are already on B and getting the spike down. You're seeing a Bova though, just trying to get through. At least it's a trade. The Hunter's Fury not getting the bolts connected as they would have liked. And that's going to be easy enough, but there's still delay going on here. Not allowing the spike to go down from Sweet and Sour.
You can already see the strings being pulled. Sweet and Sour pull a fake on a round like this. Both IGLs in their debut season for challengers, and Mulsi's Harbour so far has looked pretty damn good in these retakes with a lockdown off beside it. There's absolutely nowhere to run if you're Sweet and Sour. Creamy trying to take the duel. Cove now broken. Players on the other side shattered. Hype will have his way and a little bit of space off the back of two detains. Reposition Ticey mid is going to be the insurance policy, however. And with time ticking down and FamSam yet to be revealed, it's a two-pronged approach which Sweet and Sour can dislodge this clutch, and they should do.
They should. Just pinged away, time's too low, and it's so well played from Sweet and Sour in the end. And they've burned through some pretty big ultimates from Apex and got some value out of their own. I think that's the biggest thing for them coming out the back of that Azza. Hunter's Fury and Lockdown being used by Apex, and they're in probably the midst of their own ultimate cycle with 3 available.
It's a really important conversation to have here as well, because on the surface, you look at it, a crop of 3 players with that VCT experience, others towards challengers, making names for themselves, you know, in different regions. But Sweet and Sour, unknown to the casual viewer, the thing about them though is they can shoot. So it comes down to brass tacks, to ultimates, to utility usage, much more than anything else in my eyes.
Turret being taken out, pressure being put on mid. It's Hype to hold down with a Marshall. Unfortunately, their head is just so cleanly taken out. Wall bang through the wall.
That is typically how they come, Cairo.
Yeah.
But jokes aside,
cheers, mate.
It's a good opening kill, an untradeable one at that.
Yes,
And
exactly.
you look at Kayak's position as well, even if he TPs back towards B, not going to be in a point of contention by the time the A push comes through. They have stack numbers here though, and Sweet and Sour will realise that as the ult goes off.
Yeah, I think so many times we've seen Sweet and Sour try to invest light on what is eco rounds. And this time it's just going to clear out the site completely. Stacks they've walked into, mistakes being made, spike goes down easy enough.
Again, you want to see them keep it clean here. You've already lost tempo, Ticey down to 300, sure, Blades in pocket, but Apex will be looking to build towards some ults here. Perhaps your Kayak was 2 off. He will be 1 now, but for all the wrong reasons. Ticey's dealt with the flank, so all focus can be turned. Still thinking about the possibility, because in these retakes, Apex have been happy to invest multiple numbers towards the rear end.
Still a cove available. Maybe even get half. Lovely shots. But is that all it's going to be? Just an extra kill for the highlight reel that seems to be, has it? It will just be Mosey to hold on and die to the spike. They don't want to give any more ultimate orbs away to their opponents.
Yeah, mental clock on both sides. Mulsi was thinking about the possibility of jumping on the spike there and maybe snatching a defuse, buying some space for Soulcast to do something, but not happening this time. And Blinking, you'll miss it. We're at a scoreline of 4-4. Sweet and Sour have really managed to stabilize themselves in this opening map of the series.
For the first time in this map, Kayak introduces the op. Something I think, off the back of my head, I haven't seen too much of that I can think. It usually prefers to rifle.
I mean, that's the thing about Kayak as well. He was predominantly a jet player. I was unfamiliar with his game coming into this, having known about him for a couple of years as well, right? Like, he's been active since 2021, but it's these off-roll picks which have looked good for him so far. Sweet and Sour very direct, keep it simple through middle, however. Hype up close first fight, and he wins it. And Mulsi will too.
But it's Ticey, you've got to be worried about the right click, Hazza. That's where it goes wrong. Tempo the other side of the map with not even a chance to get close.
And now this is the operator. It will steal the show in a position like this. Famzam's actually found an angle to get past. It's a retrieval mission of the spike, that's the bottom line. And with the turret down, there's a moment here where Apex aren't exactly thinking about it. Is it going to be on Mulsi's monitor? Is he going to spot the head? What? He hasn't! He's already crossed! Famzam, no way! He wins that fight!
That's just going to allow the chance for the spike to go down, and it's Tempo as well that's walked through mid. Are they aware? I mean, you can see Abova looking, and there it is. Into the clutch, Famzam goes.
Not like this, Cairo. Not like this. Famzam's found clutches before. Missed shot. Kayak invites an extra kill, but nothing more to be claimed on the Sweet and Sour side. So just as soon as they get up and running, level out the score, Apex have one more to push themselves back in front, but it didn't come easy.
No. Hazard, your heart's in your mouth there. Your heart is in your mouth. The damage being done though to Apex continually. You've got to remember they are on the defence, and it's just one that they will need to try and bolster up the economy a little bit to get these rounds strung together, because if they lose this one, it's another swing round towards Sweet and Sour.
Yeah, and Sweet and Sour will be taking those every day of the week. Breaking away from the status quo, it was a quick push from them last time. You can afford to do that every now and then to work with the conditioning that you've set up. Early multi-wall again, they should expect this. Cascade behind it, be long space secured.
Another thing to note, sorry, Hazard, was that Ticey's actually bringing in the attacking.
There it is.
Formally introduced to Sweet and Sour. Mulsi, though, has to try and get out with at least one more. It does so. Numbers equal on both sides. No more ops on either side.
Brilliant work from Mulsi, and Hype is here in the steps, crunching in the snow as he's about to clap back. It goes off with a whimper. That's not what was supposed to happen. Creamy's down to 61 points of health. The pit is still in play, and A is suddenly under the microscope.
Yeah, but look at this. Avova finds himself in jail, but it's not them that are, or him that's stuck in jail with Sweet and Sour. It's Sweet and Sour that's stuck in this position with Avova hearing all the steps. The player's not even checking, and Avova going huge. It's Tempo to try and get something back, but it's not going to be the case. Apex will reach 6.
Cheeky little moments like that make all the difference. In maps like this, Avova with a pit of his own, but he decides better of it. Up close and personal, both him and Mulsi, the two eldest experienced players that you get coming out of that core of VCT appearances last year. And with that, Sweet and Sour call their first timeout. Again, for those watching who perhaps aren't familiar, there's no coach. There hasn't been, and I don't know if there will.
I mean, Hazard, the question is with all the personalities on the team, how would a coach fit into that, you know? Like, respect to the guys, though, because, like, you've got to be thinking, we mentioned it on the desk, or like, kind of the casting desk just before we went into game, of where they used to be, like, the unsigned Puggles, a team where it was never really to be considered in the Division 1 of Beacon to get promoted, you know? And they've came so far since then.
They are the underdogs. You look at the playoff bracket here anyway, 3 of the teams came from that Beacon event last year, so if anything, it does corroborate things a little bit. It confirms and justifies their position in the league. But again, Apex in a league of their own. It has been a very top-heavy season for them. Sweet and Sour finally dig into their pockets for a mixed buy here. That is what they've got to work with, coming out of the 60-second break in play.
We're starting to get towards the end of the half, Hazard, and those ultimates are going to start to be forced to use. If not, if you die and they're unused, then you don't get that second chance, you know?
Apex using the same wall every round as well, right? High tide towards B. You have your toxic screen on A. Drone isn't going to have enough clearance to find tempo here, so he can tuck in the corner and will remain pertinent in the round, because Sweet and Sour have been using him quite a lot as an asset towards that right-hand side of the map in their late expeditions. Wondering if they fully follow through on B, however. The drone's already spotted Kayak, and that is his cue to retreat.
See the players line up just as easy as that. Kayak comes through. Famzam, though, not allowing Hype to get the second engagement towards their favour. And that wall straight up to deny Sweet and Sour any more space.
Yeah. I mean, over 30 seconds wasted. Second wall comes up and just dropping back into the lines. And Kayak maybe considering going on a clearance mission of his own. Spots the barrel, knows that there are fights to be taken, and yeah, dismisses himself from this one. In terms of value from the rest of the ult, they're going to combine the Reckoning off the back of it, and there are bodies on the line on the Apex side.
Yeah, they're flooding the site, Hazard and Sweet and Sour. They are drowning, not a chance, but Tempo from mid side swipes the players. Avova looking to re-clear, the Sheriff not quite working the way Tempo would want it to. And Apex finally confirm the advantage to take into the next half.
Last round in the half.
That's what they were speaking about on the desk as well. Apex on their defender's side. Not very often that you're going to see them lose out by a factor of many rounds at all on Icebox. With double walls, perhaps, that's, you know, a symptom of it, I suppose. Sweet and Sour have got a similar hand to play themselves, but it's once Kayak gets up and running, like we saw in the previous round, off the back of Mulsey on the attack, it could look dangerous. They need to do themselves some favours here, Sweet and Sour.
They really do. Keep this gap as close as possible, moving on to the next half. I mean, that's all you can do against Apex, is try and keep yourself competitive, because once that they start to feel good, they're feeling confident, it's just so hard to stop them.
With Soulcast going up the zip line, Kayak there as well with a TP for rotation. All of A had been cleared. They do give up the B site in the process, and Sweet and Sour now beginning to be a little hot under the heels. They're taking fights, but not winning them. Kayak, a key duel onto Famzam. Tempo late through middle with no spike plant yet inside the fumes.
So much delay.
They double up.
Yeah, they've got to try and contest it. Defumigate it, as you always remind me, Hazard, but as I was telling you, B site is really being stunk up by either two teams, and it's just Apex that completely get rid of Sweet and Sour. I mean, you wanted them, Hazard, to do themselves some favours, and they do absolutely nothing of the sort.
It started to feel like maybe the 60 seconds worked better for the team that actually had someone in coach slot. Funny that, but 8-4 is how it will finish. And like you say, Apex hanging around that kill feed like a bad scent. Sweet and Sour pissed around this time does feel like do or die. And even looking at the score sheet as we swap halves, Famzam 14-7, stepping up to the big game. Everyone else less than 6 kills or, you know, on.
Yeah, exactly, and we were talking about this beginning, the stat line coming into the game was Ticey being 2-5 in entry duels, and Hazza generally hasn't been in that kill feed at the start of the round either.
Apex attack, but put behind this early utility, Belt players can't get out as quick as they'd like. All focus turned towards the middle, but that is where Kayak makes his entry, busts down the door with 2 kills. And it's already a 5-on-2. This one, perhaps a write-off, and it's come down to that first engagement.
Yeah, it has. And I mean, you now go into an Apex post plan where they're well and truly set up. You know how they swing off each other. You know what the importance is put on. It's fundamentals, and you see it right here. All 3 players. It's almost like the old Astralis stat, and Apex make it look so easy.
Yeah, another Northern organisation, but this one, again, the flag bearers for Norway. Despite the fact there are no Norwegians in the server, formulation went out a little too early and they still have relegation in the face, but we won't mention that for now. Metasport the only other ones to come close, but the big thing to be said about Apex, you know, organisationally as well and as a team, only twice in the 5 splits of Polaris that have been played have we seen a team win the regular season and fail to win the playoffs. Right, Apex have done it every time. Sure, you had the head-to-head with Le Petit Buffon, but both on a scoreline of 6-1, and Alliance as well, the only exception to that, where they were instantly eliminated. Apex already with 2 series under their belt come into this with the most confidence you could possibly ask for.
Imagine 9 playoff games and won every single one. That's incredible from Apex. Ticey, I mean, has got a bit lucky there.
Hang on.
Fire shot through the wall. But it's Apex now finally coming through with rifles, Hazard. The players are trying their best, but it's not working out.
Oh, I don't want to settle the fate of this round just yet because Mulsi takes a load of damage from the utility, as does Hype. Solcas is still standing and healthier than the rest. That's perhaps the most worrying part, but Ticey's Marshall, maybe fancying another pot shot through the smoke, won't get a chance for it. Creamy's rifle, the big thing, and Solcas, more information taken in tow. How does Sweet and Sour want to approach this? Do you want to try and maybe throw that rifle at it? I mean, you're going to have them up in the next anyway.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why would you not send it, Hazard? I think Sweet and Sour just being sure to check mid. Nothing there to be found as of yet. The alarm bot to give notification that there is someone in the screens.
Yeah.
But as you've already mentioned, Hazard, Apex players, they're really low.
Well, Tyson's got to make this Marshall work because he may be without money. It's Creamy's Vandal that is the mainstay, the big piece. Solcas gone, both remaining players low. But ratty as ever, Hype takes a quick kill and gets out of dodge. Mulsi cleans up, and with that comes double digits for the orange and blue.
I mean, I guess the other aspect of bringing that rifle into play there, Hazard, is that you're gifting it back to Apex. That's exactly the case, and now we're starting to look at their bonus round, and it's a bit more dangerous than you would like if you're Sweet and Sour. At 10-4, this is a very important round. If you lose this to what is a very good buy for Apex, Hazard, you're on to 11-4 on an eco as well.
Position that you never want to be in. Again, best of 5. The only one that you get in the competition, in the league, in the split. How much more are we going to see of Sweet and Sour's map pool? Can they extend it past the 3rd map and do what we haven't seen so far? That's the question on my mind. After those first 4 wins, they really slowed down the pace. Have they reinvented themselves enough to be competitive against the league's very best?
Time to jump.
I mean, Hazard, that's it. Apex are the very best, and there's been nobody to even really say that they're second. Kayak, just showing how good they are. The best duelist in the league. Apex still waiting for a reaction, knows that someone else is going to try and trade back, and it's actually elsewhere on the map, on the east side, that even finds Hype, the lurker, and that's where they get an indirect trade.
That's the thing with Sweet and Sour. It's always the next player to come in, a question of when, not if. Kayak spotting out a little bit of information here, back through his own cove. Now Ticey needs to be the duelist that captures the headlines, but instead overshadowed by the man that does everything. Solcas, from role to role, the regular season MVP, rolls out the punches and the red carpet towards a 1st map win.
I mean, that's the difference between Apex as well. It's the minor details, the smaller points. Like, for instance, every single time Sweet and Sour use the cove to plant on the default spot, Apex, they use their cove Hazard to actually plant in a more open spot. Put the pressure on Sweet and Sour to try and get onto it. And if they do, I mean, it's just free farming, I guess.
Yeah, it's these little details. And you sort of see it as well when you can hear the comms of the players. Of course, we were in London for a LAN event the other day, and something that I picked up is just little things like if an enemy player is taking an orb, comming, oh, okay, it's this player, that means we know that there are this many towards this site. Like, the details, the finer things that it's hard to think about when you watch it from a, 3rd-person perspective. Apex do all of that. We know that. We expect that of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was when I found out that apparently each agent have individual
different footsteps. Yeah.
It's insane.
I was going to say.
I mean, I guess everybody knows about KO. Guy needs some WD-40.
He certainly does. Walking straight back into the workshop. Those busted-ass metal shoes. Ticey has to do some carpentry of his own, be the creator of some chaos. Another Marshall in play. They're lining up behind the wall, but he's yet to pull the trigger. And again, it's just that threat of this pop back out from the other side that Apex always have, and they do. The util combo towards the deep side, Creamy under hot water, and he will drown.
That's it. Spike is down, and again, the numbers of Apex just dominate, tower over Sweet
Yeah.
and Sour.
This time Hype's lurk has not been cut out from middle as well, so he can have big impact and already does.
Yeah, there goes Temple. Ticey trying to swing out and will win that against Type. Whether that's anything to go off with the time ticking down is another thing entirely. That's 2 rifles which Sweet and Sour can begin to work with. The clone being an issue and still they're not truly on the spike. Just spamming through and well, it's going to be one spray that takes out 2 with Soulcast to put the cherry on top.
Yeah, the 2 highest rated players for ACS in the tournament as a whole, combining and sharing the kill feed once more. The Apex Juggernaut has ran through this map in the end. That's another thing that we can say about them. Just as soon as you start to get excited that there's an upset on the horizon, they bring you back down to the harsh reality, and that is now their 8th round in a row to lock in 8 chances that Sweet and Sour will have to try and recover anything from this first outing in the grand final.
It's been Norwegian dominance since the start of last year, and it will not stop, even as the UK and Ireland have tried to rebel, has it? Our Norwegian overlords still stand strong.
Yeah. And you say that, again, I am waiting for the Norwegian players in the server. Who knows? You can buy 5 players, but you can't buy class, Cairo. Anyway, there's a kill to open things up, and look, they'll be happy with that. Ticey's gone. In terms of utility, it's not much more stopping power behind him that they've lost in the process, but plenty of ults to throw at this. And are Sweet and Sour going to bite down on the Reckoning? It seems to be the case.
Yeah, it does. They are truly buying into this being the play, but with no sound, surely they're beginning to think that this is just a fake. I mean, Ethan investigating mid, and the players now know the jig is up. Spike is going down on A, and they're taking it really slow to get back over, although Hype does give himself up. Numbers are equal here.
They could start to swing in the favour of Sweet and Sour. Instead, it goes the opposite way. Map control lost in the process. Avova now deep with a snake bite in pocket. Shocks to go around. And again, there it is. The most expensive smash and grab operation in Challengers, the crown jewel of the East region to close. Soulcast there with him, and just another day in the Apex office.
Yeah, no celebrations at all really from the Apex boys after that win. They know the job is not done. It's only one map, a splash in a pond. And that's it. I mean, you've got to be looking towards the next map for both teams. Sweet and Sour, you just brush that off. Icebox has never been good for them. And they know that's their opponent's pick.
Yeah, well, Apex starting to make that run now through this final series that we're going to be seeing in the first split of Polaris. Something I was speaking about before as well, and I want to call this one back with the possibility of them being undefeated. You look at some of the other names. Mal's on the Warpath, they won their upper bracket final. Desire, without the defeat in the regular season, they managed to claim the championship in Italy, but they did still lose a map. And Diamant falling short. Apex looking the better of any of those names right now, and Sweet and Sour yet to rise to the occasion. We'll have the second map up for you after the break.
Look what you done. Took a living woman and turned her into stone. I guess I should be thankful. You gone cause you chew with your mouth full. I should've run once I figured out that you can't work your tongue. I guess I should be grateful. You're gone, I mean that shit was painful. Like I said, I'm really glad you're gone, but I'm sad to see what I've become. I I was burning like a girl on fire. Then you came around and put it out. You really made me think we were lovers. I let you in and underneath my covers. All I wanted was a hot girl summer. But I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer. You really played my heart like a drummer. Mentally drained me, kinda like a plumber. All I wanted was a hot girl summer. But I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer, bummer, yeah. Who you think you are? Literally no one, if we're being honest. I guess you should be thankful. You got to spend time with an angel. You would think about me, dream about me when you're asleep. Then you wake up so empty, so cold, just like me. You really made me think we were lovers. I let you in and underneath my covers. All I wanted was a hot girl summer. But I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer. You really played my heart like a drummer. Mentally drained me, kinda like a plumber. All I wanted was a hot girl summer. But I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer, bummer, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Like I said, I'm really glad you're gone, but I'm sad to see what I've become. I was burning like a girl on fire. Then you came around and put it out. You really made me think we were lovers. I let you in and underneath my covers. All I wanted was a hot girl summer. But I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer. You really played my heart like a drummer. Mentally drained me, kinda like a plumber. All I wanted was a hot girl summer. But I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer, bummer, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Baby, I don't need you to tell me you were wrong. Swear my mind erased you the moment we were done. All out of me, you're all out of me. I'm finally free, it's all good. I'll be fine, and you keep on breaking hearts for fun. 1, 2, 3. I don't wanna see your face again, and I'll never let you near my friends. It's a shame that this is how it ends, but I wanna say thank you for nothing, 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 nothing. I wanna say thank
Sweet and Sour were pulled into the icy tundras of Icebox, and the Norwegian powerhouse of Apex brought their first map pick home. Really a place that Apex have been dominant throughout. It was only until week 4 or 5 that they lost the defensive round. For Christ's sake, this is a team that's been demolishing. It started off brightly for Sweet and Sour, but at a point it felt that Apex took control and ended it pretty much in the dominant form they've been in all stage.
Yeah, there were a couple of really good highlight rounds from Sweet and Sour, and me and you were like, okay, this is looking quite good. And then it feels like it got to a point, and then it just started to go a little bit downhill. I feel like there were a couple of times that we mentioned where we saw Sweet and Sour do some really intricate plays, and they didn't really capitalize off it, right? They did the first half, and then they kind of slowed down and stopped. And I feel like against a team like Apex, you can't do that.
Not at all. 13-4, the final score. Apex kind of enjoying these kind of scorelines throughout the whole of 2024 thus far. Sweet and Sour doing a little bit better of the likes of Formulation Gaming, for example, who got 13-0 on this map early. Sorry to bring you guys up. We'll see you in Eclipse in a couple of weeks, unfortunately. But it is really much the case of like Apex. This is not even mostly being like their main map pick. It's been people like OnlyFins, for example, picking up maps like Icebox into Apex and then dominating. This is one of the few times that they've gone, yeah, actually, we're going on Icebox. We're going to choose it for the first map.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that they kind of played Icebox and have had to go up against Apex again. And I feel like Apex looked at their veto and was like, right, what are they currently not winning? And it was Icebox. Because Apex wouldn't have said, right, what are we winning, guys? Let's pick our strength, because every map is their strength, right? They would have gone on to their stats and they're like, right, look, their Icebox is quite weak. It's probably quite easy to win. Obviously, coming into this as well, they have the advantage with the double ban. So then when you pick a map like Icebox against Sweet and Sour, it's going to be difficult for Sweet and Sour to actually find anything out of that game.
Yeah, Apex, they're going to be confident with any map that they're playing thus far, but especially Icebox with the amount that they've played it. And like you mentioned, Sweet and Sour, the last 2 performances we saw from them were losses during like the group stages and then a little bit into playoffs. But I think one thing that we were sort of expecting and looking at when it comes to Sweet and Sour was their ability to be quite aggressive, trying to break the mold, really get under the skin of the opponents. But judging how even like the first round, the first pistol went on, Apex were quite happy to fight whimsy with whimsy, right? It felt that Sweet and Sour want to be a bit antagonistic in their approach. But Apex also were happy to do some silly things as well in crazy rounds.
Yeah, I mean, you say there was definitely some silly things. I think there was a couple of times we saw Hype maybe not being as disciplined as he wanted to, you know, peeking CT in a post plant. But we talk about post plant, and this pistol round was, I feel like I looked away from my screen and I just hear you said, oh my god, he stuck that, because from what I was watching, it looked like it was the round for Sweet and Sour. Obviously, the half there from Avova is super important. Molsey having a nice flank through mid as well, just really being a bit of a nuisance. And then you have Kaya, look, a little kiss through the wall. And then, look, bomb's already half. Thank you, Avova. I will take it. And I think it's super difficult as well because you had the cove there and the wall. So it wasn't like he ran through the wall and then could have literally started to shoot Kayak. He had to then go into the orb as well. And it's, again, just here. Look at Avova.
How close it gets, yeah.
I feel like he's just been told to get it half. Avova, get it half. Your job's done. We'll do the rest.
Pretty much. And I think as well, like, it kind of shows the vibe I think that Apex are playing with. We saw them at the winning moment in the first map. Pretty chill, but I imagine with how that was playing and performing pretty much up until the end of the map, Apex felt that they were playing with not much pressure on their shoulders. Not afraid to, like, oh, we're in a 2 versus 3, let's just try and stick the defuse. If it doesn't work, we can still claw this back. But I think there's multiple players that we can highlight, both from the fact that Sweet and Sour getting people to know these guys' names, because there's definitely a future for them in Valorant if they keep progressing at the rate that they are, but certainly on the side of Apex. And I think one thing to really highlight, you highlighted Athan at the start, the IGLs, because even on the side of Apex, you have got Molsey IGLing for the first time. He didn't do that on Vitality, he didn't do that on like London United and stuff that he was on previously. Being able to do some pretty crazy stuff, and him on the IGL popping off with moments like this, leading by example, it feels.
Yeah, and I feel like that it goes hand in hand, right? As a as a Harbor player and the IGL, that reckoning is like the start of the team fight in most cases, right? And I feel like it just goes hand in hand with it being the IGLs. They're like, right, let's get this party started pretty much. And there were a couple of times we saw Molesy with the reckoning, and it was absolutely beautiful because usually in a post-plant situation, you want to kind of, play contact, play off of each other. But when the reckoning comes in, it's very difficult to, well, you can't stand still. You can't be playing contact as calmly as you want to and as patiently because there is so much going on. Yes, of course, there's a difference in Molesy and Aethan right now, but I think it's very difficult for Aethan to even catch up on these stats when it was a 13-4, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I was keeping my eye on both of these two players, the two IGLs, they were like neck and neck. Both of them were at the top of the kill feed for their respective teams, like round 7, round 8. But it really was as soon as we were like, oh yeah, both the IGLs playing Harbor, playing well, big focus on them overall. That's when Molesy seemed to like up the ante. And there were a lot of moments where I felt that Apex were just playing a little bit like undisciplined, but still sensibly, where they are like trying to push up and take space when you have the players on B main pushing up on defense to find these little gaps to try and flank. And we see Sweet and Sour rotate over towards A. Avova's already pushed up to jail, right? Yep. Because there's like almost a lack of respect given to Sweet and Sour. Mostly, I think, because Apex know that if we give Sweet and Sour respect and give them too much room to breathe, that's when this team can actually build up momentum and start to springboard. You want to shut that stuff down as soon as physically possible if you're Apex and really just dictate the pace of this series full stop.
Famzam was so close to clearing that though, and I felt like that was one of those turning point rounds as well, where you don't clear that corner and Avova gets that 3k, and not only is it motivational for Apex because it's a nice play, it's also very demoralizing for the side of Sweet and Sour because Famzam, he had that, when you like, it wasn't one of those half clearing a corner. You go round, you clear it kind of like half-assed, right, and then you look back, oh boy, there was someone in the corner.
A double take, yeah.
Yeah. He was kind of looking, and then I feel like again it was like a double, because that jail corner is so deep, especially how deep you can go if there's no one playing far back, because you can go right up against the jail. But
you don't expect the Viper to be pushing it either, right? Like maybe a duelist, maybe a Euro sneaks in there with, yeah, but Avova's just like, yeah, all right guys, how's it going?
But that's one of Avova's strong points as well, is finding that space and making the game difficult for Sweet and Sour. And one thing I do want to note as well is, we mentioned this pre-game, was Soulcast, right? And there were a couple of things you wanted to say about Soulcast when it came to the kills and his deaths, right? Because the first half was kind of quiet, and the second half, he kind of just popped off.
Yeah, defensive side, top ACS player across the league so far. He was 4-8, 115 ACS. On the attack, he only died once. He was 9-1, like 400 ACS on that alone in like 5 rounds. But that is pretty much a map that Sweet and Sour, I think, we're expected to lose with Icebox. Now they have their main pick of Lotus coming up. It's a map that hasn't been super clean for Sweet and Sour, but they've been able to iterate, adjust, improve on it. And it is a map that, despite its popularity across the globe right now, especially with Haven Gun, Lotus seems to have taken that space alongside like Ascent, right, as a popular map. Like Apex haven't been playing it too often. And it's one of those areas that Sweet and Sour is trying to make their like home ground, their main map to focus on and improve on.
Yeah, I mean, last time these two faced off on Lotus, it was 13-11, right? And that was during this split. So, look, I did say earlier on, this is probably the game where if we can't see Sweet and Sour fight back, I do think we're going to see a very quick series. This is the game where they seriously need to be like, right, we need to bring everything to the table. And just looking at their previous stats on this, Sweet and Sour did struggle on the defense last time on this map. It was only when they came to the attack was when they actually started picking up some rounds, because at halftime it was actually 8-4 to Apex. And obviously we know this map is fairly attack sided, right? We talk about this in VCT, in pro play. Most people prefer being on the attack, and then it's all depending on the comps as well, because some people play quite defensive comps sometimes, and well, this is kind of what we're expecting, not really any changes here.
Yeah, we've seen like Apex play around with a couple of kooky ideas, but on Lotus it feels like they've really given a respect to this meta, one that's been defined by a lot of teams, certainly EMEA. The last time that Apex played this map was against Sweet and Sour in the group stages, so it has been a fair while. Sweet and Sour playing up against Metaspot and beating them throughout the groups as well is a good start. 13-10, so still quite close there. Ultimately, there's no short way of saying this. Sweet and Sour, if there's going to be Apex dropping a map at all in stage 1, it feels like it has to be this one for Sweet and Sour, right?
Yeah, and I think the main things to note in this map as well is last time these guys played, they actually had more entries on the side of Sweet and Sour than Apex, yet they still lost. Yes, it was 13-11. But that just goes to show that potentially some of the stuff we're seeing from Sweet and Sour is maybe more aggressive, right? We had Ticey with 4 first kills, but like I said, if Ticey isn't getting loads of first kills, you have Tempo as well. Even on that Killjoy, he was getting 5 entries, right? And that just goes to show the way Tempo plays, and he can really set the pace of Lotus.
Yeah, map 5, well, the best of 5 going to the second map of Lotus. Hazard and Cairo, who is the player on either side that you want to really step up in this map? What do you want to see perform?
I like that from Ryan. We've broken the fourth wall and asked a question. For me, the answer is simple. It has to be Creamy. He was 0-5 in first fights in that previous map, and it was against Apex last time when we saw him struggle. You talk about top performances that this player has shown us. It started out on Lotus, the first ever map that they played in Challengers against the Statement Metasport roster, 23-5. It's got to be similar stuff if they can turn this one around.
It does, it really does, and Sweet and Sour, while they've taken Apex to the limits on here, Apex will be wanting to make amends for last time, not allowing Sweet and Sour the chance, and as we already know, make history being the first team to never drop a map in a full split, including playoffs.
History on the line, Sweet and Sour flying the flag for the free agents. Still, no one willing to get the contracts out just yet is crazy to me, but here we are. Map number 2, Lotus. They came within 2 rounds last time out. Threw it away from an eco and lost from a 11-10 scoreline to 13-11 as they conceded. Stack on the A site to start things off.
Apex are wary because there's no noise, there's nothing from usually a very loud roster, has it? Investigating, and the trap will be sprung.
Mossy has the spike. This will be a little careful here. First player in, it's dropped. Bamzam, confirmation that this is a little bit more than meets the eye. Pivot towards the B called, but Hyper's the first that falls in that endeavor. Information on where the rest are coming through, and that adventure from Hobbit Door may be cut short.
Soulcast is on his own adventure. In towards CT, a tap of the spike. Nobody coming while those bullets flying their way. It's Soulcast they're actually baiting for. Up on stairs, and here it is. Only gets one and tries to dip away.
This is the moments again, like I say, where Sweet and Sour don't want to be caught by the occasion. Soulcast starting to play them like a fiddle. Ticey shown out the door by the paint shells, but Soulcast is taken down in the process. So with the stairs player gone, all attention on the site. Kayak the last that remains. Finally he gets the jewel on the waterfall player. Tempo taken out, but Sweet and Sour will get another pistol round on the board. They're first in this series, I should say.
Yeah, it comes on their own map pick. I think realistically for Sweet and Sour Hazard, they're not even going to think about Icebox, you know. I mean, we've already spoken about how their performances have been on 0-4 now. As they move on towards Lotus, a much more homely feel to them, and you can see that with how they've played their first round.
Yeah, I mean, you even looked at the statistics as well, though. The defender's side was never a position that they were particularly good at playing.
Yeah.
I'm remembering against Apex last time, how many occasions do they have an advantage in player numbers to be working with, and left the site open and into the retake, just couldn't convert it. Stuff like that which we need to see changed here. Bova already isolated and like a weed plucked from the root by Ticey.
So guys, just recovering the Sheriff just in case. As for now, there's been a lot of players seen on the A side of the map, so Apex are going to try and head towards C. That's where the spike is, and I imagine this plan will be pretty much easy enough in the new reconstructed site. Well, I should say old reconstructed site, considering the changes and how long it's been.
Stuck in the past, mate. It's been a while, like you say, but I mean, to look back to the past as well, as I said, advantages, that's the key thing. Utility here for Sweet and Sour will be good in reclaiming space. Kayak's nade brought off the board as well, so one of the key details to how they would have liked to shut this down is missing, as is the rest of the team. Tempo with 2 more kills, and Sweet and Sour have the rounds to match it.
Yeah, and it's extremely clean. You've got to consider that the only player that, well, only one of the players that got dropped, immediately their gun gets picked up because Creamy was only on a pistol, committed to actually using more utility, and obviously getting in towards the next round. I actually just seen Ticey buy up a Outlaw, so this bonus is looking pretty decent for them.
I was about to say the same thing, and look, we'll have to see if sites like that, you know, not looking to play a site hold, more on your retakes, if they will continue to be a positive trend for Sweet and Sour. You're looking at the player positions here from Apex. Very passive. Solcast likes to go walkabouts on A. Sure, it wasn't the best for him in the previous round. You can just see they're waiting for that aggression. The Viper wall is a bit of a deep cut here for the defenders. And that's because they've double layered it up on A.
I was going to say they're sending it towards what is probably the worst site for them with the Viper and KJ setup. Although you can just see Famzam dancing between where you actually want to set up, going to stairs, and now with all of Sweet and Sour here, this is going to be a 5v5 brawl.
You don't have hype through the middle of the map either, so all eyes on this push. Spike dropped right in the choke, and Tempo strangling the Apex players as they make their way through. This is looking like a really good bonus conversion from Sweet and Sour, pending the fact that no extra players are taken out in the process. The tree door is opened, but swiftly shut in their face with a Spike at the feet of Sweet and Sour.
Don't want to give 1v1s or 2v1s. Anything which is in Apex's favour, which they can claw around back. You can just see the bullets flying over the head. Famzam, they've got no head left. It's all up to Soulcast now in a 1 versus 4. Sure, you've been good, mate, but I don't think you're going to be good enough for this one. It's going to be that bonus conversion, Hazan. Sweet and Sour off to a flyer.
Upgrades pretty much all across the board, and Creamy maybe given a buzz cut through the corner. You were worried that a little moment like that could be all the difference in terms of clawing a kill back, but just like getting a fresh trim, he's feeling brand new. 4-0 on this map so far, and that player that I highlighted is starting to step up when we need him.
That's it, has it? In fact, the Spamzam's coming through as well, just to note.
Yep.
Something that's just so iconic for Sweet and Sour on Lotus. And I think it has been a real characteristic for a lot of teams, thinking towards Liquid as well.
Apex of last year. Enzo.
Yes.
Who else? Door opened early. Sweet and Sour with player numbers towards Mound, a little segregated from each other. If Ticey takes that fight through the door, there's no real way that Afen can trade it off. Now, his position looked at in a little bit more detail. We've seen this common smoke to just bridge the gap from the one-way. Reveal over the top, but nothing spotted.
Oh, the shots through the smoke. It's Mosey that's gone. Unlucky for him. Still though, Apex look to head towards B. 2 players sitting here from Sweet and Sour. They've read this somewhat well. Need to be wary though of a stinger at short range.
Or the possibility that they just pivot straight through the door. It's still a real chance that that could happen. Creamy up close, and his flawless streak has come to an end. First black mark on the scorecards, and it's the one which makes the difference, because now Apex having re-cleared Mound while this is going on. Kayaks open things up, a paranoia to play him into Waterfall. Ticey flees from the scene. The defenders are so deep back now.
By the way, Ticey only has like 15 bullets left in his Vandal, so that's something else to think about, and Kayak has recovered one for himself.
Big duel. Tempo wins this. It's the lockdown in play. Kayak instead will best him. The Polish powerhouse continues to prowl. Sweet and Sour cowering in fear. They dropped so far back when the showstopper came through. Could get caught pants down in the 1v1 though. Ticey is out on the site, up over with the Sheriff. There is a lack in weaponry here for Apex, but the time is on their side.
As straight onto the spike, and Apex really far back, using blast packs, the reuse utility to get players off of the spike, but it's Ticey on towards main, that's taking everything in his stride. Time so low, I think this could be done. Famzam's just holding 4, but unfortunately, it's going to be a thrifty round.
timing a little better, and FamZam can steal the defuse there. Two players working on different ends. Ticey held up his of the bargain, but neither really culminate to be quite enough. So again, like I say, just as soon as you start to get carried away, Apex bring you right back down to the state of things. They're yet to lose a map. Sweet and Sour, not without their mistakes the last time these two played here, but they let the door open just a little bit, and Apex jam their foot in that gap.
Big investments. Ticey's up for the first time in this map. Does have the showstopper to bail himself out of any close engagements. There's actually has a baiting for Temple, who's scaling so far up Mount.
Yeah, it's looking here like Apex perhaps want to try and invite some kind of a duel through the door.
I like that.
They could push off the back of it, but it's a turret broken instead. One way goes straight back up. And that is the message posted by Sweet and Sour. They know of the op though, and it has rotated.
Yeah, it's starting to head towards the A side, but we've seen Soulcast scale up. Right now, it's just poking and prodded from both teams. Hype getting rid of the alarm bot, creating that question mark, making Sweet and Sour dedicate resources to holding that choke. As for Soulcast, escaped all the way up towards stairs.
Again, this is Soulcast's job on this map. As I said before, a guy who's played Info, Anchor, Duelist, the lot, the works. Wherever he's required, he's stepped up. Driving wedges in the defense, trying to find a little bit of extra ground. But the Prowler is right on time. Apen isolated, crossfire broken in the site, but they still hold the all-important angle to stop the cross.
Oh, FamZam, the utility is so good, and the ultimate not good from Sweet and Sour. Neither is the engagements. And now it's up to Tempo, which doesn't even get a chance though, has it? And that's the thing about Apex. Once you let them in, they do jam their foot in the door, and they continue to open up that gap, or well, close it in this instance.
Yeah, that they do. Back within one. In terms of what Sweet and Sour have to stay competitive, it's started to dry up. You're coming down to the last couple coins in your coffers, and that's the most worrying thing. It is the defense. Sure, I would by and large say that 2 more rounds here for them is probably job done. The attack is when they can start to work things ever in their favor, but again, missed opportunities are not something you can afford to give away against this Apex team.
Don't even want to give them anything.
Not a scrap.
But this time they will. Has a look at Mount. Ethan's so far up, and Ticey supporting. This is
Done
when
this a
Apex
couple
will
of
come
times.
back through.
Sure. Paranoia in off the back of the Prowler, but again, the one way goes up. Ethan taken down in the process. So, Kayak with that kill. He was one step closer to yet another showstopper. Plenty of ults here for Apex. Picks up the orb as well. A round like this, really, you've got to be looking for maximum damage. So the reason for the default is understood.
We could see a lockdown game of chicken between the two as well. Hazza both have it available. FamZam just jumping and giving. Soulcast some audibles.
It's a cross-map Poison Cloud which has been thrown, so it's landed in the choke of C. Finally, they feel as if some proactivity needs to be levied. Avova finds a kill over the shoulder of Creamy. FamZam one on the site. B is where this one should finish because there is still utility, the possibility of it in their way. Ticey on a timing, can't take it. And Avova, having found that kill, means that everyone knows where this last player is. It's a worst-kept secret in the server, but FamZam may just have a surprise up his sleeve.
Wants to try and make it as expensive as possible, a rifle to pick up and an ultimate to use. If they even get to that stage, it's 40 points of HP that's in the pocket here, and Height on the flank, looking to shore things up.
Don't do it. And he won't. There you go. Flank coming in. Like I said, Apex happy to just divide the resources there a little bit as well. Hype, we've got a knife kill the last time these two faced on Lotus, in fact. And he was sizing up FamZam there at the possibility of lightning striking twice. Now to the ultimate game that we chalked so much up in this previous round or so, because you look at what pieces are available. Both lockdowns, a counter to FamZam's pit if he does try and bunker up on a site. And again, Apex just keep doing the same thing.
Being so much more aggressive to not allow Soulcast the chance to hit A, and that's a lot of utility that's been sent towards that A main, which will Invite Apex a reaction towards C. Has a 4 players out on Mount right now.
Yeah, it's important that we mention it as well because something that I said before is Sweet and Sour's retakes. You're missing key pieces. That's another blast pack gone. Can't exactly say I knew what the idea was with that one, but Apex continuing to build up in the mounds, and with the Haunt broken, they know players are here. They should have information on the agents really as well.
Just waiting. The hand to the side. There goes the KG utility that would stop, and Tempo looking to stand tall. In fact, here's the showstopper coming their way, and thanks to second of it. Rocket not really hitting where it would want. They wanted to get the kill. Instead, it's just Tempo to take loads of damage. And Sweet and Sour has her. They're going to pivot elsewhere. Try and take this through the door and towards main.
Yeah, with the lockdown used, Nightfall back in. Heavy towards the spawn side for Apex, but they're guarding the rear brilliantly. Mulsey with 3 kills. And that is the statement made. Locked out behind the lockdown on the opposite side, and they must head for the hills and save. A mature decision, but again, we speak about those ultimates. Apex invest theirs, as do Sweet and Sour. They get the better of it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the saving grace is that Apex used one more ultimate than you, or in fact 2, actually. But even at that, though, Haza used a big one in the lockdown for Sweet and Sour.
Mulsey's starting to build back up towards his as well, and is going to hunt down these last couple of players. Tempo low. Right off of that showstopper. I mean, all the raise util was gone, so there was certainly a point to be made of it. But yeah, I think you can't afford to be entirely risk-free against Apex. If you play a standard game of Valorant, it's not one that you're going to win.
It isn't. It isn't at all. I mean, but at the same time, though, you can see Sweet and Sour on the ideas that they have. Like, I mean, the immediate A pressure, so you force Apex into that C pivot. And then the ultimates in trying to take them off guard, thinking that they'll be pushed out of sight. Unfortunately for them, I mean, Mosey's just so much better. And it's not as if Sweet and Sour have flashes or the like to push these positions.
Yeah, aggressive on A, it's only Afen there. Yet to find liftoff in this map. Creamy's maybe filled the gap with Famzam, but every player on the server needs to make their mark because Apex have the pick of the litter. Any one of them can make it your worst day in the server. Players on the C site, good reaction here, Sweet and Sour, but they're starting to drop. Kayak has his first.
Certainly does. But as for now, Hazard, still Sweet and Sour prepare and wait to get in. Here comes the Nightfall, and it's combination after combination. The players put low because of the ultimate used, trying to dip out, trying to use their forces to work together. But Sweet and Sour have had enough. Or so you thought. Famzam just peeks out solo and gives a freebie towards the Norwegians.
You have to walk that line. You have to. Sweet and Sour maybe overstaying their welcome with an overpeak or two, but
cover going out.
Winning out on the B fight. Spike in the middle of sight, and Avova with the ultimate in hand will be looking to try and spin a web of trickery himself. Afen's been here since the start of things. He is a difficult clear in the corner, and when you TP straight into his open arms, there's only going to be one end result. A big round from him with a multi-kill, as Sweet and Sour can settle the score even.
Yeah, we've got to be thinking of the side biases as well. The 3-side map has a... I mean, Sweet and Sour, they could be on for a good one, but at the same time, they need to make good of their attack. And you know what Apex's defense is going to be like. Maximum needed from them. And especially when they're in, they've got the Viper's Pit, etc.
A much better round from Sweet and Sour in terms of how they read the game as well, with the rotations. Thought that maybe Afen was out of place, but there's always the possibility of the B play coming in. And insurance policy elected for.
You can still
see Apex thinking about taking this one ahead of time.
You can still see their eagerness though from Sweet and Sour to just keep fighting, keep brawling.
It's like Tempo has a turret place sight. What's that going to do when you're putting your head on the line? Sure is on the other side of the door for now, and it doesn't matter because they will be heading straight through the middle. 5 players on either side. Apex making the first move towards the broken door.
He's waiting for someone to break the door for him so he can get that nade. And there's actually a seize to try and break through. That's a lovely combination. Mosey gone, Delane trying to be set towards Plat. Remember that Viper's Pit is still available if they want to use it. But there's players stuck out on main for Apex. Hype going to be the first one to go for it. Lineups being used to delay, deny the spike. It's already been half.
There.
That's it. Soulcast
Oh.
has to peek out now.
Lineups though, they're not going to follow through on it. There is still half a chance here. Half a chance for a reason. Sweet and Sour do take it, but with 7 points of health after the decay is said and done, when the dust settles, they take the round all the same.
I've not seen actually many lineups for the B before. I think that's
Yeah.
the first time that I've seen it, but it's nice from Apex, something different. And I guess that the thing is, though, is just the engagements on the site. They don't delay enough to get the value out of those lineups.
It's still cut very fine though. Something you do notice about Sweet and Sour is they're never like straight onto the defuse. They want a tap and a peek. Same on Icebox when they had the Cove. Not really how they chose to play it. And now we come into another huge round in terms of the swing for both finances and ultimates.
Big pings coming through. And again, the utility game from Sweet and Sour has it. In terms of the combination of Fade and Raze play, it's been pretty spot on.
You, at the same time, though, you kind of understand what the setup's going to look like, because Ticey does tend to operate somewhat by himself in a lot of these situations. And speak of lineups, Mossy has one here. Seas goes in over the top, but nobody caught, and still plenty in pocket to fend this one off.
Second time these two have played against each other, and you can see Famzam just respecting the pressure being put on as the door is being opened, trying to get the players as they walk through Hobbit door. Yeah, there's a lot of chip damage, but there's nothing in terms of key concrete kills. Ticey aware of anybody walking through the edges of the smoke, but it's a Global that comes out on top. Pit invested. That's going to be real sustain for Apex's hold.
Oh, it makes a mess of it. The A side of the map clear for them. Paranoia comes in main. They've split up and managed to find this space, Sweet and Sour.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be thinking, no Fade Prowlers to clear the pit. Big kill, though, for the edges of it. Now we see Sweet and Sour begin to walk round it, circle what is the pit, and that's so cast down. A 2v1, Hype has to come through huge. We've seen this clutch on the B side before. Can he come up once again? Spike up to Famzam, but it's Hype that comes up clutch once again. Almost guaranteed at this point.
Brilliant stuff. Hype will collect once more. Apex, plenty of ults invested in the process. Sweet and Sour keep their cards close to their chest, but dealt a bad hand in this one, missing pieces. They got to try and find ways to fill those gaps. And yeah, again, such as we saw it, the stall was good. Apex just seeing what their win conditions are. If we can get the spike down, we favor ourselves to win. A breakaway, a pace change here. Ticey is well supported this time.
Nothing really, I guess Famzam's spamming out, but Apex just waiting to see if Sweet and Sour are going to do anything silly.
You've got to be so careful here if you're Famzam though, because you are walking a tightrope. The rest of your team is relying on this B play working out for them. 2 Vandals heard, 2 players. Turret taken out, and there is one on the defensive side to pick up the pieces should a B play come to fruition, but it won't. Not for now.
Apex still in the information state, just working the map, moving through it, seeing which site is most vulnerable for them. Hype's still out on B main, that's an easy pivot for them.
That's something you have to think about as well, right? Cycling of information, mirror comps, and very similar scenes on Icebox. Now the push coming to shove. Ticey needing to take the duel. Tempo won a classic instead. A rifle lost to the cause.
I mean, again, as the term of phrase goes, a splash and a pond in the sea for instance for Apex. So many rifles to work with as they try to come back in. Sweet and Sour still up to Creamies, Vandal, and I mean, the first kill isn't even that clean, and the rest just clean up.
As they do, Apex reaping the results. A couple of rounds towards the tail end of the half has already made this look good for them. Now they want to secure the advantage in full. Dot the I's, cross the T's. Sweet and Sour have plenty to close. There's a real strong possibility here. We see all 5 ults in play, but their implementation for me has to be key, because so far Apex have made the difference where they've been able to use some of their own.
Yeah, exactly.
A situation now where they don't have any.
Well, I mean, That's the one thing that Sweet and Sour can take a little bit of confidence in. It's the ultimate game, but again, as you say, it's the value that matters here.
Yeah. Maybe none that you could entirely build the round around. If Avova does want to go for the Vanya outplay towards Spawn, then he does have the legal right to do so.
I mean, respect to him if he gets it. A couple of kills though for Apex, and they could find something. I mean, there's Kayak getting an alternate orb towards his. That's the showstopper online for them.
Waiting in the wings, Apex. Standard attacking play. Early control towards the left side of the map and Mound, but the spike is headed elsewhere. Mulsi and Kayak. The prominent Polish duo trying to tee each other up. It was Mulsi who was carrying Kayak around the Apex facility earlier today, but he's got to lift himself through that engagement. Ticey a trade on the ults, both raises gone now, all eyes on Ape and A, but he gives up the game and the site goes with it.
You can understand why he's there. He's trying to give as much passive information as possible. The players haven't got towards A. I'm still alive. Well, that's no longer the case, mate. It's straight on towards the A site. It's all engagements and it's all so good. It's Viper though. Famzam gets it the other way, and we talk about value, Hazza. There's absolutely zero value for Sweet and Sour at the end of that round.
A serious sunken cost fallacy about some of the rounds that Sweet and Sour play. You know, like you suddenly see the big moment, name in lights, this group of rookie players in the league to make themselves known, but as soon as that happens, it's already too far gone, it feels. Yeah, Famzam gets a double, but it's Soulcast's kills before that are that much more important. 7-5, the scoreline says. And Sweet and Sour, I think, will be happy with 5 rounds. They picked up the first pistol. That certainly buffered it. The bonus going with it. Now is when push comes to shove, because Lotus, for me, is the real heart, the beating heart of their lifeline in this tournament.
Again, that silence, deafening. Hype just stands at the other side of Hobbit Door. A trap, waiting to be sprung once again. It's almost like the first pistol round that we saw as Apex and Sweet and Sour brawl it out. It's actually Sweet and Sour that come out on top just momentarily, still swinging through, still trading out each other. 2v2, Hype finally breaks the door, but everybody's gone. They're already on the site, Hazza.
Again, the merit here for Sweet and Sour is the sharpshooters, because you look at the utility game, they ate a face load of it on the way through.
Yeah.
Now a fight to be taken in the 2v2. Avova up close, spots out Apen. First fight and the second to go with it. No spike plant. Situation played a little differently than most would expect. It will not work out for them this time.
I mean, Hazza though, why would you go searching in towards CT there when you have the site? Fair enough, there might be someone having. I know it's decisions that we don't have control of, but I'm pretty sure you would prefer to get that spike down.
It's tough, right? Because I think there's a world where Sweet and Sour take those jewels, you find a player by themselves. Quick trade, something of the sort. Worst case scenario, 1v1. They wanted an advantage because it's never a level playing field against these guys.
The thing is though, is with that smoke down, they can immediately cut noise, Sweet and Sour. Although there's no noise being caught, they're giving everything and straight on towards B though this time. The turret giving away that, and well, Apex react by taking main, but away from Sweet and Sour.
Well, a checkbox on a round like this, you can fill in the blanks with a spike plant. Trade through the door. In terms of getting this gun back, yeah, they're going to push it and extend one step further. A fight on Avova, 2 players that he'll have to handle if they go for it, but at the same time, it's a reaction towards Creamy's direction that makes it more worrisome. That's why they fight from on the site itself.
Classic's not working out. Ticey though takes away their opposite number. That's something to go in towards the back of their pocket, but instead it's the Bulldog to get the work done anyway, has it. The molly will dissipate, and so will the rest of Sweet and Sour as Apex continue to push that boat out.
Yeah, I mean, Creamy's call for help is left unanswered from the heavens in upper. I would love to have seen Sweet and Sour just force the issue through Mound there. You know, okay, worst case scenario, one more player. You take the duel and you hope that the numbers can bail you out. Some kind of upgrades, something to create a catalyst in the round, but now on to the next, and the most important one in this series so far in my eyes, because you drop the ball on the map of your choosing, Apex will bring maximum punishment. It's an Odin in play, calling upon the gods to gift them something here.
Divine intervention will be needed. Hype already feeling the pressure. And Apex, I mean, they're only going to rotate one over as mostly looking to hold on towards A. Sweet and Sour will send it in with the utility. Ticey making it all the way through the mollies.
Players on site. Yeah, I mean, you have to call on the Divine to beat the quality that Apex have, the elite of the division. Solcast gone this time, though. His utility had been burned through a couple of times towards A, just fake pressure, fully committed to Sweet and Sour, not taking their foot off of the gas pedal in these rounds that we've seen from them on the attack thus far.
Sweet and Sour aware that there could be someone on the flank, and well, it will be Kayak. 4 players dedicated towards holding the site, and well, there's the spam zam coming through once again. Nothing
Turret had first contact.
Enemy remaining.
It's just gonna go away, just up to Mosey. Fair enough, that's good 2 shots, but on to 8 HP. Has that? It's gonna be Sweet and Sour once again to convert that most important round.
Like you say, it was a rigid sight hold as well that they had. And I mentioned it there. The turret was watching the flank. Famsam takes the fight in front of it. If he'd have lost it out, then maybe there would have been question marks. But I think they realized that the penny had dropped. We needed to do something here. And again, it's important to recognize that with a team like this, when to take your chances on an engagement. Apex put all of their eggs in the C fight basket, I suppose, not the site. It's even further than that they'll cast the banner early.
Again, this mountain pressure being put on, the similar utility. It's almost like deja vu. It's a mirror matchup, a mirror play, but it's Apex that come out on top and completely smash Sweet and Sour all
Player
through.
standing.
Only Famsam left, Hazza.
Didn't feel like Sweet and Sour were fully reading from the same hymn sheet there, and another ballad of death goes off without a hitch for Apex. Sam already highly aware that this area of the map is overloaded, a target-rich environment for him to unload the Odin's magazine into, and it already claims its first victim. Hype's gone down, Cloud onto the spike. Actually, no, it's just slightly fallen short, so not quite able to bridge the gap as he'd hoped, but flank from Solcast does exactly what you think.
Just the initial engagement on Mount wins Apex around. What else is there to say, as you say, Hazza? It was the disconnect from Sweet and Sour and how they tried to re-engage after the one-way, and it just was an absolute smash.
I think smash on that round for Apex, certainly.
Yeah.
Passing that one up on the Sweet and Sour side, though. And again, you know, with Afen as well, I think he's been a little heavy-handed in calling some of these two to sort of take engagements. As I said before, it feels like they're flying straight into every round. A couple of those, like, A defaults too, where you've baited out some of the Viper utility and then just ran in after it anyway. A slight lack of care in my eyes. The duty of it for Kayak on the B site this time.
Oh man, even blind. Still have to use the ultimate to get rid. Still a trade back and forth, but it's Apex finally. They take that significant lead in the round. Up to Ticey, the young 18-year-old, the duelist, coming up against so many talented and experienced players. Spike in no man's land and no hope of getting the up. Down to 1 HP and well, 6 foot under they go. But under a tree, 11-6, and it is just the old oak of Apex that continue to win out these rounds.
Roots planted in the region, split after split. This would be their 3rd successive title and first with the new roster. Cruise control now towards what looks like a second map, and as I said before, the chance to make themselves immortal in those history books has to be something you're thinking about, because for many, myself included, coming into this, they would have said, look, I don't know if I fancy the chances of this roster. There are a couple of maybe bad performances in the big leagues last year, but far from the case at this point in time. The VCT EMEA champion puts down his mark with a pit early, which Sweet and Sour will run straight into.
Yeah, they're just trying to disrespect what Apex have put forward, and Ticey being the first one to do it will get completely taught a lesson. Over on the other side does the same for Tempo. And now Sweet and Sour, where do they go? I mean, B and Mound B's main has been taken, A has been pushed, C's got a Viper's Pit, where do you go?
I'm hoping that there would be a D site. I still don't know which they go to though. Apex closing a lot of ground on Sweet and Sour as well. They can smell the blood in the water, and Multi, hungry for it perhaps. The red mist descending before his eyes is what takes him out of the game, because now a 3 versus 4 from the Shadows reposition, Spike on the back of Aethan. A chance that they can maybe get something done here, but it comes down to Creamy in my eyes.
Left.
I think so, activating, but again, we've seen this before, not checking behind the box is what punishes you. That's exactly the case. It's up to the last 2 remaining controllers for Sweet and Sour, and just ones that have been gifted to Apex, and every single time it's Apex that win them out.
Yeah, you can tell hype's been put through the ringer after that previous map. Still, when you actually go back and look at the statistics for first duels, he went +3, 4 and 1. You know, maybe a lack of discipline here and there, but like, look, well, what is it? Birds to a feather, like I say, a drop in the puddle. An ocean-wide gap now between the two teams that we've seen open up. And, well, the 5 rounds which Sweet and Sour had on that first half into the second, they'll make it a 6th, but nothing more.
I guess you've got the Viper's Pit and one off of the lockdown. This is some key chess pieces. I guess you could say your queen is still on the board if you want to look at it from that front, but in terms of all the pawns and what they have, it's not really much opportunity for fights, although Tempo finding a Volvo was pretty huge.
And it was always going to be something like that as well, because we can speak of ultimates, but they've just not been an asset of the Sweet and Sour game plan so far in my eyes. Soulcast towards Tree. He'll put the molly down as he always does. A little bit more respect on the Sweet and Sour side this time. Tuck towards Tree. Tempo still going, as is Soulcast. Another highlight moment. Headshot through the wall, but he's unperturbed. Nearly a 4. But the fact of the matter is, it's an equalizing kill. One which Kayak can spin off the back of. Head on a swivel. A second for him. The lockdown finally blares off. A moment's calm now, as both fades must collect themselves for what could be a clutch which closes.
Oh, hands up, doesn't even get a chance. Creamy faces up, gifted to Mosey, and sends us into map number 3. Sweet and Sour, will they try and put up resistance? It's always going to be your rulers, your Norwegian rulers, that are going to be in prime position.
Malsey, shake of the hand there on Kayak. Both of those guys looked unstoppable in map number 2. Haven't missed a beat so far. And in terms of missing out a map, there's only one more now between them and laying their hands on more silverware in the second tier. You look at the combination of Icebox as well. 4 rounds, 6 here, 10 overall taken by Sweet and Sour. But at stages in the game where it looked like it could be a little bit more. And for me, that is the most disappointing part, that it hasn't gone one step further, Cairo.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. You're really hoping that Sweet and Sour can be the ones to put up some sort of performance against Apex. I mean, throughout all of the regular season, as we said about like how they are the ones that are the most unconventional. It just hasn't come to fruition in the grand final.
Yeah, it feels like Sweet and Sour keep competitive in the key moments, but the game just gets away from them. I mean, running away is easy enough for Apex, but the leaving is hard. And we'll leave you for just a little moment longer. We're back after the break.
turned her into stone. I guess I should be thankful. You gone cause you chew with your mouth full. You, I should've run once I figured out that you can't work your tongue. I guess I should be grateful. You're gone, I mean that shit was painful. Like I said, I'm really glad you're gone, but I'm sad to see what I've become. I was burning like a girl on fire, then you came around and put it out. You really made me think we were lovers. I let you in and underneath my covers. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer. You really played my heart like a drummer, mentally drained me kinda like a plumber. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer, bummer, yeah. Who you think you are? Literally no one, if we're being honest. I guess you should be thankful. You got to spend time with an angel. You would think about me, dream about me when you're asleep. Then you wake up so empty, so cold, just like me. You really made me think we were lovers. I let you in and underneath my covers. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer. You really played my heart like a drummer, mentally drained me kinda like a plumber. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer, bummer, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Like I said, I'm really glad you're gone, but I'm sad to see what I've become. I was burning like a girl on fire, then you came around and put it out. You really made me think we were lovers. I let you in and underneath my covers. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer. You really played my heart like a drummer, mentally drained me kinda like a plumber. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer, bummer, yeah.
You will never understand what I went through. You never were a good listener. A good listener. You will never understand what you put me through. And you never be a good lover. A good lover. At first I believed I was the lucky one, but I was just fooling myself. Fooling myself. You think you can talk sense to me, like we are gonna be okay. We're not okay, yeah. So is this gonna take all night? Don't wanna waste no more time, yeah. You're
So earlier this week, Apex released a YouTube video where they did their version of Hot Ones, right? You know, like the whole like eating spicy sauces, trying to answer questions. I mentioned this because for Apex, this sweet and sour, they just kind of devoured it, and it didn't look like it measured very high on the Scoville scale here on Lotus, did it, Marcus?
Oof. You said you were going to come in with a hot one. You delivered.
Quite literally.
No, literally you delivered. Yeah, I mean, look, we were looking a little bit hopeful towards the start of this. I feel like we keep on getting false hope from Sweet and Sour. You see some really nice rounds, some nice ults, and then it kind of goes downhill quite fast. We were looking at the pattern from the last time these two faced off onto this map, and it was like two rounds to Sweet and Sour, then Apex came back for a chunk, then they lost one, and they came back for a chunk. But this one, it was kind of like everything interesting, quotation marks interesting, happened at the start, and then it just ended up being more of a, I don't want to say stomp, because there were some close rounds. But
it just sort of developed, right? It just kind of started to lean the way that it always felt it was going to go.
Yeah.
This is the second map of a full best of 5, but it might not even go that far. Apex 20-0 on their map win and losses so far at this stage. Sweet and Sour doing a little bit better than they did on Icebox, but considering this is their main pick and they haven't been able to ban out a map thus far, you'd be hoping for better, right? You'd be hoping for a similar score like the last time, which was 13-11 to Apex. But at least Sweet and Sour in that series looked a little bit more competitive.
yeah, I mean, this was the map where I said that we need to see Sweet and Sour come out, right? I feel like if they weren't going to show up this map, they're probably not going to show up at all, right? Because this was the closest they've ever pushed Apex. I believe the closest any team had pushed Apex, apart from OnlyFins, so I also think they brought it to a 13-11 as well. But it's annoying because, like I said, there were some really good moments at the start, and then it kind of died out, right? And then it's so difficult because then you have people like Soulcast where you had some nice plays in Tree, but Soulcast just was better than them in aiming, right? They walked through the wall and they were instantly dead. He's fast, he's reactive. You can't give Soulcast these easy clips, right?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It felt that if he was in a fight to the death backed into a corner, he was getting two before he was traded. And
always. I
will always want to highlight Soulcast, not only because he has been the player of the tournament pretty much from the start of 2024 to now in Polaris, but also it feels like pure vindication. If you've been a Soulcast fan since the time he's on Team Liquid, how much flack that he got from the beginning of being on that team when he was playing duelist over like Scream, to sort of maybe underperformances of Liquid at international events like Champions of 2020 and the like, to see Soulcast move down a level but still be absolutely stomping people and still seeking to improve with like aim training and stuff like that, it's a testament to how players, when they can get knocked down out of like the tier 1 scene, then it doesn't mean that they're suddenly washed and there's no opportunity. They're still fighting back, and if not, looking better than they did before. So it's a huge standout player, most certainly for our region and the whole of Northern Europe.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about fight back as well, and there was definitely some key rounds during that game where there was some form of retaliation. But let's go and have a look at the Apex Ego post plan on round 4, because this was... this one was... We were talking about this, and we were like, okay, right, so has he saved the nade? Has Kayak saved the nade? And right now, he actually has saved the nade.
Unless he got the 2 kills beforehand, but...
No, he wouldn't have, because it would have said 3 at the top right now, right? A 3 kill.
Right, yeah, true.
So he did save the nade.
With all of that, the aggression, I think he just used the showstopper in this round, but you have to remember, like, Sweet and Sour win the pistol, they win the bonus, and it was a really good bonus that really set them up nicely. So it just kind of feels like when you played up against Apex, there's some kind of BS moments like this where a Vova was able to get out and survive. And even though Sweet and Sour are able to sort of try and get the kills to get the defuse in the end, it ends up losing out to time. And another round to highlight is round 10 after this, which was when it was a full buy versus a full buy. Sweet and Sour come in aggressively. I just want to say, best moment of the game so far. The Spamzam running in with an Odin and managing to get the kill onto the Viper. But Apex, in these like clutch situations, it's a 1 versus 2. They're still so dedicated and disciplined to play the time, to put the pressure really on Sweet and Sour. And it felt like those 2 rounds in particular, after that, the momentum definitely swung in the way of Apex for them to close it out. Because what? Sweet and Sour only got 1 more round after this one. So yeah, rough time.
Even looking at that round, it's a little bit painful to watch, because in that situation, you know where Hype is, right? The bomb is not, I mean, it's not really planted for him. He has to swing out, right, to check the bomb. Ethan doesn't have to be like floating around no man's land, ready for that smoke to drop. Like, he could have just played high and low position, which we see very commonly on this map. We see someone play top platform and someone under, right? They could have either got the bomb half, or they could have tapped and held. I feel like in that situation, there's like a bit of panic setting in, right? And I feel like maybe up against a team like Apex, you can't panic like that. If it was any other team they were up against, maybe OnlyFins, when we saw them dominate on Saturday, maybe that would have been a bit cleaner. But it's those little things that make a team go from great to excellent.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of teams have made mistakes against Sweet and Sour by kind of falling into that rough, muddy Valorant playstyle, right? But I think Apex here, it's good that they're not almost like, we're better than this, right? Where, you know, we should be a tier 1 team. It should be our classics that people are using. They are kind of like, okay, this is going to be scrappy. Sweet and Sour want to play this kind of game. We're going to like fight fire with fire and show that we can like deal with these kind of moments. So Apex looking multifaceted, but not afraid from a good scrap now and again, especially when it comes to like mechanical duels. But I did want to highlight like a good moment for Sweet and Sour. Like, this is a team that maybe most of you, you know, Sliggy's chat especially, might not recognize any of these names. But I think that this retake from them was really good. We saw like a Season 8 combo come in, the Paranoid to cut across as well. And all in all, Sweet and Sour, once they can get their ducks in order, once they can get this utility out, the Snakebite, the Prowler there, it was a fantastic retake on a B site where Apex, like I said, are trying to play it a little bit scrappy. Sweet and Sour are the ones that come out with a class here.
Yeah, I mean, it also felt like Soulcast had quite late mollies as well. I think that was more reactive mollies rather than proactive mollies. And I feel like at this level of the game, I feel like in a post plant, you kind of have to be proactive with when you fire their mollies. You can't wait for the tap to then fire, because the travel time as well. It was unfortunate that he couldn't find the retake. I suppose, again, if those mollies are a bit quicker, maybe him and Hype could have then grouped up to actually take that fight onto site. But look, it was a nice round from Sweet and Sour. You do have to, you know, give them credit where credit is due. Unfortunately, that was the map where we needed to see them win, because right now we're going down very scary paths. We're now on to Sunset, where we last saw them play, which was during the split. It was during the split? Yeah, it was during the split. And it was, what was Lotus? It was
13-7,
Sunset,
right?
sorry, 13-7, yeah. So, scary.
It is. The other good thing, I suppose, for Sweet and Sour here is you had just beaten OnlyFins 13-4. Apex just beat them 13-2. Like, granted, OnlyFins tried to change up their comp because it went so badly against Apex, but Sweet and Sour sort of took a good advantage of that. But Sweet and Sour choosing to defend here, like, this is like a competent playstyle that they've been setting up with. They've been keen to play the Gecko KO, like a lot of teams have been running. And Apex, they've been a little bit more experimental. We saw them playing a lot of Yoru very early on in the stage, but have moved over to take Paper X's old comp, the no duelist with the Sage, stuff like that. Maybe when Paper X was over here from Madrid, they scrimmed Apex, and Apex were like, we're going to take that, actually. It's kind of a cool comp. Did he actually say that?
I believe in the last interview with them, they did say they scrimmed them and they loved the comp. And that's why they've taken it on board. And when you have a player very similar to something who can play Gecko and who can play the operator, you can take these comps and you can work with them. I feel like I'm biased, obviously. I do prefer the Gecko comp over the Breach, Raze, Yoru comp. Because also I think that one thing that I think you don't really speak about much is how good Molsey is on the Sage. Because Sage, I feel like right now is one of those agents that, especially on a map like Sunset, it's very difficult to utilize. And most of the time when they hit A, they do a really nice wall for CT. Not deep CT, but like off the default box. I can't describe it. You know, as soon as they walk out of elbow, it's like instant wall.
Yeah, and also just the wall to get onto the B site without having to worry about trips and being sprayed from market, right? Just that extra bit of protection. But it is funny because Paper X, I think, have moved away from this comp to play other stuff now that Jing's back. So Apex are like, they're pretty much the main proponents of it now. It's a comp that they've been playing consistently with. They tried out some of the Euro, but we're seeing Kayak now over on the Gecko to play no duelists whatsoever. It really is a question of like Sweet and Sour, how prepared are you for this? The Sweet and Sour's comp on Apex's side, like you play this comp against teams all the time, especially if you're scrimming against tier 1 teams in EMEA. So the pressure is all on Sweet and Sour to actually take a map off of Apex, who are going to play likely a flawless tournament so far, unless Sweet and Sour can put a stop to it. Could be the final map of the stage, maybe the final map of the day. So let's see it out in style, Hazza and Cairo.
Thanks, guys. We travel now to the city at the end of the sun, and it could be the end of the line for Sweet and Sour in this competition. Their grand final so far is going for them worse than the group game.
Yeah, it really is. We've literally seen in that last map, Sweet and Sour win, almost half of the rounds in the first 3 rounds compared to the rest of the map. Let's hope Sunset is a bit different. The last time they played, it was 13-7. We need a big improvement, not only just in this series, but just overall, man.
I'm glad that you mentioned it as well, because those 7 rounds is more than what they've got to show for on any of the 2 that we've seen so far. The Veto at the start, pretty much the same to what we saw of those three maps at the top left-hand corner of your screen. Breeze was unplayed and may remain to be the case here as well. Apex on the chase, making some serious legend of themselves.
They deserve to be in that situation. The commitment to the scene, the commitment in general. Oh, Mosey's been caught out, but the trigger discipline, so good. Tempo having to be forced to actually destroy the Gecko, the wingman, and put the spike in a bad position.
Yeah, really smartly played by Tempo, waits for it to get exposed. Info back on mid. Do Sweet and Sour commit to these fights? Seems to be the case, and outweighed, outmatched, Paranoia in through market, floodgates opening up, Apex now back on the attack.
Yeah, they're putting Sweet and Sour in a bad spot. They have tried to fight through main, and it looks as if that's where they're going to try and head out into and hold the spike from there. Yeah. Elsewhere, Apex still clear out all the CT, and the roles almost switched here.
I mean, both teams have reacted. Sweet and Sour, the defender's the one that made the first move. Tempo still tapping away though. Another dome decimated by him. And Spike right beneath his feet. And a smoke placed on top means that difficult doesn't quite scratch the surface for Apex to try and unpack what's in front of them with only 25 seconds left.
Goes. This is it. This is where the gunfights are going to be easier. And here we go. Down to 1 versus 1. Hype back on the spike with time so low. Might have to just commit to this. Ticey's need is back up, but it's not hit where it wants to. Now here comes the engagement.
Minimal damage, and the wall is up here for Hype as well, so he can reposition to the corner.
Ticey going in a corner themselves, and they've put themselves in a corner, in a box, and back to spawn. Well delivered by Apex, and even a little BM sent back their way.
I mean, how many times have shots been hazardously thrown from one end more than the other? Apex needed to be commanded that kind of respect by Sweet and Sour, because honestly, they have been brought down on one knee here already, and Apex with one hand on the trophy. I've heard that it's A4 this time.
The noisy neighbours, as have been called many a time on broadcast, has it, and that's all it seems to be. All noise, all bark, no bite so far from Sweet and Sour, unfortunately.
Here.
In terms of how they approach this round, 3 Sheriffs, heavy on the B side.
Here.
Apex will look to play into it. Mulsi is on a classic. Whether he's just saving up for that attack-sided op for Kayak to try and work a la PRX comp that we were speaking about earlier.
Well, that's a bit of information out on A main though. The fact that Hype's been caught there, Sweet and Sour still don't react off the back of it. 0 Point not getting what they were looking for. The wingman actually baited out as if it's a spike plant.
Yeah.
We're seeing Famzam actually rotate off the back of it.
Famzam is playing into Hype's hands, but no, snatched away, straight in front of the face. Same angle, but the Dizzy finally dissuades him. Repositioning deep and hoping that the rest of his team can come quickly enough, and it looks like they'll be right on time.
Famzam says he's used too early, but Tizy's bullets have not been. Apex have walked into what is a disaster for them. It's all up to Kayak, and you already know how low they are. Wow, wow, wow. Sweet and Sour, they win out the eco.
Okay, Sweet and Sour, I see you on the second round. We haven't seen that so far in the series, but again, little things such as this can make all of the difference. Multi, without a purchase, has, allowed for a Vandal to come and play a rogue rifle with the stack of finance that they had, but a big loss for them, for the defenders as well, to get up and running. Sure, Sweet and Sour have won pistols on the previous couple maps and not made too much more of it. I think you can tell what I'm getting to here. It has to be more than just a flash in the pan.
Absolutely love the fake with the wingman as well, has it? It's just so unfortunate that it doesn't get any value in the end. It's known about destroying the trap to make Temple peek out. Again though, it's something that they're going to Sweet and Sour will have to dedicate resources to watch, and Sweet and Sour have also gone searching in main. It's the Sheriffs again that do the business, and Famzam having to respect what's been put forward and the pressure that's been put towards him.
Oh, Famzam, what a shot. The Gecko Jewel and as Apex line up for their coronation. It takes the head, which the crown could be very well sitting on soon enough.
Still
The site is pretty much open though, right? There is still a lot of key tools in this retake. Every single flash available on the Sweet and Sour side.
It's the cut of the noise, the doubt that's going to be in the back of Sweet and Sour's mind. Ethan gets the pick of Hype and TPing out. Apex not really getting any clean fights whatsoever. Spike to go down now. And finally, Apex in position to try and get this one over the line, especially with getting rid of Famzam here. There's still 2 rifles in their hands, Hazza.
Really big kill from Mulsi. Beyond the veil, he finds another straight through the post box. Afen delivered. Creamy 2 back. That is the equalizer. But Soulcast in a 1 versus 2 is still outmatching everyone. The guy is just damn unkillable. 2 massive kills to give Apex their second.
Sensational from Soulcast. What more can you ask of him? So much in the back pocket. Your MVP of the group stage, and well, might as well just be the MVP of the playoffs as well. Fantastic from him. Fantastic from Apex. And what a way to answer back any critics of that last round.
Exactly as you put it. The success is short-lived for Sweet and Sour. I'm still trying to do his job as best as possible towards the A side of things, continually pile on the pressure, but that's Sweet and Sour's job on this round. An excavation of middle is instead digging the grave of Ticey. Just the one quick trade rifle available to be picked up.
Those 3 players are in mid Apex, so they can just get on towards one of the sites, because there'll be at least 1 or 2 to fight out of over. Unfortunately, the wall's not worked out that we've seen so often. That puts the Omen in such a good spot. Instead, though, the rifles will finish things off.
Little set piece. Avova does still have the TP though, but Famzam is acutely aware of their tricks. That sleight of hand has already been shown, and Hype guarding the backlines with his life. Apex getting up to a 3rd. Now I'm curious to see what the buy is going to look like for Sweet and Sour. Yeah, it was a bit of a half invest, so they are still good for this one. They're getting close to ultimates of their own, but Apex have already brought those online.
Yeah, they're the first to the mark here. And it's where they choose to use them.
I think it's so important that we just speak about this again though, because as I mentioned before, everyone on the Sweet and Sour side can shoot. Make yourself familiar with it. It's these other layers of the game which pick apart the plan. Early utility coming out from Apex, and it will stop them straight in their tracks.
Famzam trying to hold down. Okay, Famzam, there's 3. Spike down, Showcast can't be retrieved. That's exactly what is going to happen, but stopped immediately. Only one player is Hype, sorry, all the way out in elbow.
Yeah,
Last
life
player
given for the
standing.
cause. And there is Case in point. Famzam finding 3. Hype with a pit. Surely not.
Poison orb emitting.
A long pair of arms to get to where the spike is, but he's got all of the utility you could possibly dream of to live this one out in lucid fashion.
Just doubting himself though, as you can see it, just dancing between the angles, wondering where the next peak comes from. But Sweet and Sour, they're nowhere near the spike.
They've grouped up, and now they've got to run straight back into him. The statement to be made is if that pick comes through, he wanted the first fight, it's a tap instead. Now they start to make their reprisal. Is Hype gonna commit his ult? Does he fancy his chances for another clutch here?
Still trying to beat out the peaks, trying to beat out Sweet and Sour. And well, unfortunately, the beckoning has been answered, and they'll go and win out the round. I mean, that has just been won out by the Gecko player of Famzam.
Yeah, Hype didn't quite have the bottle, the gumption, the cojones to commit. But Famzam lays it all on the line here, and well finished off by the rest of Sweet and Sour. So making good of the buy round. No ults used on their behalf, but still plenty in play for both teams. And that is the pertinent factor that I keep coming back to. Could have a royal flush here against the established order, the monarchy in the region.
Supreme rulers.
Oh God. Straight back to spawn.
Yeah. I mean, the respect and the pressure that Sweet and Sour are putting on, they've turned up this map so far, for the first 5 rounds at least.
Yeah. It's the back end which is spring-loaded though. As is the A site. Plenty of utility here. That knife trying to clear towards elbow, really. Or if anyone had made the jump, which they haven't. Aggressive stance held towards B, but Afen is solo, and it's those first engagements where he really struggled in the previous map.
One way to help, but doesn't want to commit the second. Holds on, thinks there's maybe something heading his way, but in fact they're wrong. They're actually heading towards the weaker side of the map, Bill. Weaker in terms of man count, not in terms of utility, because there's loads of trap wires, and even a Cypher setup with a cam as well to boot.
Kayak's at the back of the pack, but it's his ultimate which can really get things going if they so choose.
30 seconds left.
Famzam, of course, one of his own, and then on command. So heavy on the retake side here, Sweet and Sour. Kill trips towards the site. Tempo not in a position to do too much about it yet, and yeah, null command does come in. Everyone's suppressed,
Spike
but still duels to be taken, and they're split up both ways.
Traded out even. Trying to get the thrash in somewhere near. The spike's so open and it's going to favour Apex so much. Even raising into this one. Apex are pushing everything to the middle of the field. Famzam not even getting anywhere near and get more than half the spike. Soulcash just continuously firing you to Sweden, getting rid of it. Any Sweet and Sour players close by. The thrash will help out. A hold of the spike.
Sticky.
He's just going to get it close, but it's Mosey that shuts them out. Denies Sweet and Sour the round.
Apex again, the anti-heroes. You think about the core that they had before, but this team are just cold-blooded killers. And Nolsey, while he invites the possibility of a defuse, not on his watch. 5 ultimates used in that round, more importantly. Apex with the majority of them, but in terms of what Sweet and Sour have left, barely anything. And that's talking about the economy state as well. The last couple of rounds have sort of really shaken them after how they got off to a decent start. They, again, couldn't snowball it any further. It melts between their fingers.
Shot burns through the dizzy. They'll be easily picked back up and even having to dip away. You can see the pressure and how much Sweet and Sour trying to get towards the B site. Finally the wingman makes his way out.
Yeah. Those standard combinations that they've been using, wall and wingman, fit for purpose. Playing deeper from main, it's a standard sunset meta calming core setup. Util has been thrown into the mix, however, and that melting pot is where Ticey's taking more utility kills.
Hype at the back. You've got to be looking at the flank. He's just mowing them down. Fair enough, Sweet and Sour have taken the fight on towards main. Brought it down to a 1 versus 1. But Farmzam needs to get towards the spike. Time ticking away, it's been half. Now that'll force a Vova back out, a swing out and a collect. It's another scalp in the back pocket for the Apex side.
A Vova again, always the last man standing. Lowest first deaths out of anyone in the league. And in those clutch situations, he is well experienced enough to handle the matter, take it into his own hands. And Sweet and Sour seem to be sat absent at the steering wheel right now. Hot like a parked car. They were in good form, but the windows are rolled up and they're stationary as Apex are driving towards that trophy.
Cover going out.
I mean, the concession is for them, Hazard. They obviously have newly announced play-ins to look forward to or be in prime position for.
This is true. But again, against an organised outfit, that's not exactly where you fancy them. Creators of chaos, the best way to describe Sweet and Sour. Aethan's still caught while he's managed to reposition. It's not quick enough. Hype is chasing the coattails and finding the first kill.
A well-oiled machine, that's exactly Apex. They know what the reaction is. They've watched her scrim so many times, being against the best.
Flash.
Oh, Hamzam come from, that's a reaction out from Elbow, Ivy.
Yeah, that's going to be 3 kills picked up, and in terms of the Ivy space, right, they have it. It was just a peek round the other side. Gets out on spot. In terms of middle, Ticey's taking fights that he simply cannot win. Bites off more than he can chew. Avova's position still just settled here. Turns around quick enough. Tempo with his cage. Utility for the next. 3 on 2. Advantage Sweet and Sour.
Not only that, it's advantage in the information department as well. That neuro theft just helping out in the economy front for them. While the spike heads its way over, buried by Mosey. That should be easy enough and put Apex in position to try and get it over the line. They've got an extra player in there front. As in, that's going to be time.
Soulcast does have 2 flashes. Malsey could be looking to profit off it. As the slow expires, that's when he'll take the timing. Knife, not sure if it actually caught Soulcast there. No, all players coming in through Link instead.
There's a low peek out, a simple flash, but it's actually the players playing anti that gets it done. The wingman was already working on the spike in the meantime, forced Apex out to try and win the duels. They will answer back, but still Apex keep that advantage.
That's more, it's just, you can't call it early enough until that side swap comes through, where the Sweet and Sour can stand testament as they find themselves before Apex once again. Coming into that group stage matchup, both teams were 4-0. It was the following 3 games which Sweet and Sour failed to convert, however, which left a bad taste in the mouth, a general bad feeling into playoffs. Now that they've showed up, it's this grand final which has not gone their way.
Up through middle, somewhere different where Apex decide to hit. Sweet and Sour respecting it, but the thing is though, Ticey has went completely off script from what Sweet and Sour doing. Trying to stick away, stay away from the fight. Apex take it to them and completely wipe them out. There's a couple back, but I mean it's still the advantage which Apex hold. That's a lovely combination. Creamy just escaping.
But Aethan is towards main, plays the discipline, looks to hoard more kills than he could maybe carry. Kayak is laboured on that first fight, and while flashed up, Hype is there to save the day. A 6th for Apex secured, and the second half now. The advantage, how far do you build it?
Yeah, exactly. That's now the key point. This could be a 9-3 half for Apex. They have the key tools to do it. You're looking at the ultimates that they're starting to come back into. The economy of Sweet and Sour starting to fall apart. It is the perfect chaos. But it's Apex that are actually benefiting from it, Hazard. Perfect storm.
It really is. And Sweet and Sour have no antidote, to what is proving to be a lethal injection from Apex. So many tools from which to work on the A play, but they take their time. It's just so casual, the walk up. Kayak a player as well, which, you know, coming into this one, you wouldn't exactly say you'd expect to see him on an initiator or something like that, but the guy's always there to roll up his sleeves and do the work. Has lineups for the site execute, but instead it's the Dizzy over the top this time. Mosh Pit still available, as is the Wingman with the plant coming through.
And I guess it's the same thing with something you wouldn't expect to see them on the Gecko, and the shots on the Shvamzam just not as good. Look at this, Apex, they just go fit, searching, and they find it every single time. At least it's a rifle recovered though, but the utility just so much better from the Apex side. Okay, maybe something different, maybe something to think about. Just as you think as the round is going away, Sweet and Sour claw it back.
Here it is, Mulsey into his 4th year of competition, 11 in total, 5 from the game that came before, but still the most experienced head on the set of shoulders that you could possibly ask to haul you through. He's out of bullets, but Creamy may just be out of time and out of luck, because Mulsey has managed to take them through thrifty waters that were encircling with Sweet and Sour, but a 7th will come all the same, and they're poised for more with every single ult you could possibly ask.
Yeah, the advantage will be guaranteed for Apex. That's the thing about Sweet and Sour though, has it? We've seen it before. The fact that they can claw these ecos back. They can claw Thrifties out of pull Thrifties out of nowhere. But again, it's the ultimate game where Apex hold full control of over Sweet and Sour. Anything that Sweet and Sour can throw, Apex can throw 2 back.
Sweet and Sour trying to create aggression, but without taking down the Viper Orb. There's no real way in. Sure, you have the one way, but it's the threat that lays behind it. Cloak and dagger stuff. Already replenishing this second dark cover. Aphron has made his mark known so far in this decider map of the series, in effect.
Poison orb emitting.
Not quite hot under the collar just yet. There's a pack of players that are walking about the map on the Sweet and Sour side, looking to instigate a fight which has evaded them thus far.
Pings circling around the A site from Sweet and Sour. They seem to have an idea about where Apex want to go, but the issue is you might have ideas, Hazza, but it's about the gunfights. It's a game, it's a FPS game at the end of the day, and you are going to get shot in the head.
That's exactly what happens, and it's such a common angle as well. Sweet and Sour have already played this once or twice and found kills from it. Apex cognizant of that fact, and now on towards the site exec itself. Soulcast is getting himself another. Potential perhaps for a Vova walled up, and he is, but thrown over the edge in the process. Famzam doesn't get the kill, the ult is offline, but Soulcast is here to stay. To call him a player within the tier 2 circuit is almost disrespectful, because he's just that damn good.
I mean, that's the thing though, Hazza, the quality, the prowess, the sheer talent that these players have. Sure, a couple of them might have had a bad couple of results, but no way did the likes of Soulcast deserve to be relegated to tier 2. No wonder Apex snatched them up so quickly. And the thing is though as well about Apex, Hazza, in that last round, they've only used 2 of their ultimates. We're in the last round and they have 3 in the back to use.
Cover going out.
The only time that you hear the word second next to Soulcast's name is when you're talking about the tier of play. Both him and Kayak tied for top ACS involvement. Everything else that goes with it. Infallible thus far. It's hype that leads the charge. One of the many torchbearers that can take them forwards. Step-ups every side of the server that you look. The A kill picked up, they sit on it, they go quiet, and that silence is the most worrying thing for Sweet and Sour, because now they feel they've got to make their own move.
Cage triggered.
Oh yeah! Monster on the loose!
Crash in, that's the initiation, but as for Sweet and Sour, they're already dipping out. That's enough for them. Creamy's tried to get cheeky, and while the players in CT are completely caught, Aphron trying to hold down, trying to play protector. Tempo comes in, doesn't get the chance, doesn't get the opportunity, and look at this, the Viper's pit, and just everything being sent towards Sweet and Sour. They've not got a blooming chance.
The Viper is detained. They are down, but not out. Apex land themselves a 9-3 scoreline, and look, I don't find myself too surprised to be saying this. For me, again, the series lived and died on Lotus. Apex adding another nail to a coffin which looks like a carpenter's workbench at this point. Sweet and Sour have been through it, and I think this may just be as far as you get. Not without a pistol, that's for certain.
I mean, that's it, mate. I mean, we said it was a possibility once Apex hit 6. I mean, 3 rounds sporadic across a full half is just simply not good enough for your second place team against the top.
The writing's been on the wall every single time. It's so hard not to just say it as it is. Again, to be completely candid, Apex are proving why we have them a class above. Avova, troublesome situation for him here early though, and that uncharacteristic entry pick means that Ticey in fact gets his second of the round, but it's not done yet.
So good. Just looking to double dip, and there it is. There we go. The player's peeking out. Can't get more than 2 though. And it goes back to height. Once again, tries to deny the spike, but there we have it. Sweet and Sour, they get off to a great start.
Pissed around, gap close to 5, but still plenty to be filled in. We can't get the Sliggy pen out just yet. It's by the time we're the other side of the bonus that we can think about how many chances they realistically have here. A couple of sheriffs in play, but not much else for Apex.
Yeah, not much else, but it's like giving the most dangerous man in the world a stick or something, you know? It's like watching John Wick. These pistols can still hit.
Toxin screen down.
Hype trying to administer something there. Mulsi the one which could make madness. Classic at range, down to 1 HP. Death's Door. Apex not yet crossing that threshold though, and the site itself opted against it.
Here he is, speaking of the most dangerous man in the server. Kayak beginning to walk through mid. Avova though is the one that strikes first. Oh my god, no way.
Oh, it could have been perfect. You saw him with the paranoia in hands, just chancing up the opportunity, but the scales are outweighed this time. Sweet and Sour, another important kill. First on the round, in fact. Hype is still just about alive, and in proxy, his Viper utility will be working the B site, the wall that is. 2 players spotted. Do they expect the second couple?
Oh, the fact that it's the Gecko as well, that's your clearing utility if they walk that Strylig. It seems to be the walk into Soul Gas. It's so good. It's unreal. A bomber walking elbow and the headshot is not enough. Spike will go down. There's a remaining 2 of Mosey and Hype to come in.
I mean, key thing, Afen down to 45. You're within body shot range here as well, so Famzam has to be the mainstay. Not quite a gap on the smoke to show for it just yet. And a wall in hand, and sure, Afen has the paranoia. It doesn't count for much in this kind of position. Still a chance that Hype can clutch this out.
That's the Sheriff, and will come up against the weakest player first. It's Afen at the back side. No, in fact, it's Famzam that peeks out, the paranoia coming through, but the Bulldog just scrapes him over the line. Again, as we said, we pointed it out, at any point, Apex can have a chance to win it out. You should never underestimate the pistols that they have.
They were within striking distance, that's for certain. Sweet and Sour still a gap to be closed, and they will continue to do it. You can only win the round that's in front of you. That has to be the mindset. In terms of thinking towards the next couple, though, do you want to invest the Thrash here? Do they build the round around the outside of it, maybe?
You've got to be throwing everything you can to upset the balance against Apex. Already Hype having to drop to the back of sight. Supported by Mosey though.
Under no illusions as to how important this one is. To keep themselves current in this one, not be devalued by the situation. Avova, aggressive, but not exactly outside of his means. That's the biggest thing that we can always say. And Famzam, that flash is going absolutely nowhere. You're going to have a hard time recovering that one. And in fact, he's not even going to. hasn't quite solved the fake. Still 2 players here, and the 2 anchors. Hype already getting his first.
Nosy coming in to support, although it's just when you think Tempo escapes to the back of sight, they've got no chance of being spammed through walls. They're not even seeing the gunfights that they want to take. Finally, the rest of the players get out, but it's absolutely flawless indeed.
Holy from Hype. Sovereign in his hands. And there is no doubt about the sovereignty of the Apex clan. 10 on the board, twice the rounds.
Thanks.
And I think Sweet and Sour are just overcomplicating it a little bit too much. There was no second layer to that early, thrash that we saw come through, or in the mid-round, I should say. Well, Apex are a little bit top-heavy in terms of the kill department. Everyone has found their place in this map so far. And the game that Sweet and Sour are trying to play just isn't working out.
Tasty Paranoid doesn't want to walk any further, but is that to their own detriment? It is, as they try to get something here. Apex, they look to drive the stake through Sweet and Sour's heart. There is no way that they're being allowed to get up tomorrow without feeling hurt, without feeling pain, and that's exactly what happens here. Tempo now left to dance between too many players, and here comes Mosey to send them back to heaven.
It finishes flawless. Within 2 rounds now. And that was when the guns did come out for Sweet and Sour. Not even a moment's notice to lick your wounds and stem the bleeding. They're hemorrhaging here as Apex continue to clip at the heels. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. And this round is what you've got to save face, to save the series, to stop championship point.
Well, Ticey being the player to do it as well, who's led at the front line so much.
I think the big thing for Apex, though, is that this is a different class of map because it's literally just the individuals. They're taking solo fights. That is where Sweet and Sour can punish, and they already have done through Market.
Have Ticey's Vandal working out, Showstopper now up and online, although Soulcast's Vandal not working the way it has throughout most of this series. Now allow for the spike to get down in the player's safe passage.
But Ticey nearly pushed Afen off the plant there as well, but they do get it down 3 on 3. Still, Apex with advantages. Afen reclaims the rifle, and out the other side of the smoke is not going to be blinded up. In fact, doesn't pull the trigger! Didn't give the squeeze! And a quick shakedown. Sweet and Sour frisked for all they're worth. Coming up empty-handed once more. Apex take it to 12, and they're right back on the brink.
There's no way that they've allowed Kayak the opportunity to swivel round like that. I feel as if I'm back in Champs and watching, the Loud DG match.
Dude, there's no way that he's played the discipline there.
Yeah.
Rito, please fix UI bug. He was blinded. I'm coping right now because Sweet and Sour are falling apart. There aren't many chances left to tie this one back up at the seams. Apex the ones with history awaiting them, 1 round away, and they have the needle and thread at the tapestry.
Tempo's tried to pull at the strings, but unfortunately Avova's there to make amends. Apex controlling most of the map. You can look towards it. You've seen how deep Kayak is in towards the Sweet and Sour territory. Afen worried about that push on A main and whether Kayak has actually gone. Maybe tried to cut off rotates, but not going to be given the opportunity.
Four-on-4 situation. Kayak in through middle. The boy from East who could end it all in the north. First picked up. Nothing more than that. All she wrote in this situation. A chance for Sweet and Sour to stabilize, but the rotation has been called.
Still, the spike so far away, and it's allowed Apex to get in prime position to flood the site. Soulcast just hanging back in case it is the fake.
30 seconds left.
And there is 2 here. Well aware, the wingman goes in. It's going to be 3v2. Spike denied.
Oh.
They can't get it down.
That's
Time's so
huge.
low. Sweet and Sour have to force their way out. They have to try and find a way, but it's not. It's the Monarchy to do it all. Spike down, pit invested. No chance for Sweet and Sour. The noisy neighbours have been silenced, and Apex are your champions of Split 1.
Your inaugural Invincibles, the never-ending tale of Apex dominance, adds a third title to their record. The new roster has returned. Those champions who went to Berlin across the continent never came back, but in their place, 5 more players to step up to the plate, and they have over-delivered. Not a single map lost, and there won't be. Split 1 concludes with them your champions.
I mean, that's the thing though, Hazza. A lot of people will try to steal away the highlight, the quality that is on this roster, but they have proven it so many times, time and time again. And it's not as if they haven't been put in difficult positions. We've seen it. OnlyFins, Sweet and Sour, they've put the pressure on mentally in the server. And I mean, at the same time, Apex have answered every single challenge that has been put on their plate.
The players there saying their goodbyes as well. Soulcast right up in the midst of it. The guy was here, there and everywhere. An MVP performance for him even in the finals. And look, even that last map, it didn't even look like the macro game was too crazy from Apex. They were just killing them. That's pretty much it, right? And as we conclude this one as well, there's only one thing left to be said. That Apex, not only have they won, but I think we can all say that we would be proud for them to represent the region. Not just for what the organization have done and how good the team is, but yeah, that backing that they continually put into Polaris, and we can only hope that as this one continues that things can get better, not just for them but for everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. The personalities, and hey, listen, there's still so many quality rosters. This is a developing region, Hazza. We've had OnlyFins come through, unsigned. Sweet and Sour, unsigned. Metasport, sure they're putting in a bit of investment there, but there's still so many more that we've not spoken about. There's such a bright future, and this is only Split 1 of 2024.
Watch this space. Polaris is in progress, but for now, it is perfection from Apex. We're going to head to a break, but when we return, the analysts to break it all down and roll out the ticker tape for your new champions.
Look what you done. Took a living woman and turned her into stone. I guess I should be thankful. You gone cause you chew with your mouth full. I should've run once I figured out that you can't work your tongue. I guess I should be grateful. You're gone, I mean that shit was painful. Like I said, I'm really glad you're gone, but I'm sad to see what I've become. I was burning like a girl on fire, then you came around and put it out. You really made me think we were lovers. I let you in and underneath my covers. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer. You really played my heart like a drummer, mentally drained me kinda like a plumber. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now, what a bummer, yeah. Who you think you are? Literally no one, if we're being honest. I guess you should be thankful. You got to spend time with an angel. You would think about me, dream about me when you're asleep. Then you wake up so empty, so cold, just like me. You really made me think we were lovers. I like a girl on fire. Then you came around and put it out. You really made me think we were lovers. I let you in underneath my covers. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now. What a bummer. You really played my heart like a drummer. Mentally drained me, kinda like a plumber. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now. What a bummer, bummer, yeah.
Perfect map, a perfect series, a perfect tournament for Apex. 21 maps won, 0 lost in stage 1. The Northern Europe champions, and Marcus, they did it in a way that we'd sort of expect them to. Not close at all, unfortunately, for Sweet and Sour.
Yeah, again, it was that second map, I think, that was going to decide the tempo for this series, right? Like the first map, Icebox, it was expected to go in the favor of Apex. It was Lotus where we were like, okay, if something's gonna happen, it's got to happen now, because at least then it would have given them a chance to get to Breeze, which was our 4th map. And yes, Sweet and Sour are unbeaten on that map, but it didn't get that far because 13-4, 13-6,
5 and
13-5.
yeah.
That's crazy. A total of, what's that, 15 rounds dropped in 3 games is absolutely incredible, and they deserve every step of the way. They've deserved.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's probably historically maybe one of the fastest best of 5 grand finals we've seen in Valorant at this point.
Yeah.
With Apex looking as good as they did. But like, to be fair, I think your like expectations are really in order when you look at both these teams. Apex, they invested a lot into Valorant of last year. We're 1 win away from making EMEA's Tier 1 International League. And they've invested hard again, picking up bright young talent from other regions that were playing in Tier 2 last year, but also a lot of Tier 1 players from the likes of Team Liquid, Vitality, Heretics, Hype that's been consistently in this league as well. Like, Apex are investing a lot of money and resources into getting into that level. Sweet and Sour, it's their first ever like proper tournament. So I think that's worth saying. But we do have an interview. We've got the head coach, the main person behind the success of Apex for this stage, Danito. First of all, congratulations. What does it mean to you that it's been done perfectly, that you haven't dropped a map at all? Is that important to you at all, or is that just kind of like the cherry on top?
First of all, thank you for having me. What does it mean? It's a well-played season. I mean, split from us, you know, it was a good grand final. It was actually very chaotic at some times, you know, but I'm happy that we managed to call it in a good fashion and went undefeated. And yeah, that's the most important thing in the end.
I'm super happy for you guys, because obviously last year we had such a close I say close. It was dominant the whole season, right up until the end. But as an organization for you guys, I'm super happy that you're once again performing at this level. My question for you is pretty much when you're practicing right throughout the week, are you going up against teams like Sweet and Sour or of that level, or are you guys going up against tier 1 teams to get your practice in?
We focus only on scrimming VCT teams and top tier 2 teams, you know. So we're measuring our performance mainly in scrims because when Ascension comes, teams are going to be really good, and we need to be ready for that.
That's actually a good question, because I think that when you do so dominantly here, you've won 13-0 in a couple of these series that you've played so far in stage 1. Are you like, this is a great testament to how good we are, that we are dominant in our region? Or are you, be honest, like sitting there going, man, I wish we were being challenged harder here. This is almost too easy and too straightforward. Because you're right, like the goal is Ascension, right? So doing well in this stage, it's important to get there, but ultimately you're looking almost past Polaris to an extent.
I mean, the league looks like that because not that the teams are bad, it's just that I think that we are on a very good level at the moment. Everyone is giving their best. Apex as an org is giving like full support to us, and we cannot like ask for more. So everyone is doing their part, you know, so we are a unit as a team, so yeah, it's a team effort always, so yeah.
I guess the other aspect of it too is that you and kind of Desma to an extent are the only people that were on the Apex team last year, right? Even your like manager's different because like you made changes there, but is it feeling different this year in comparison to last? Like you've got brand new players in, players that played in tier 1, some of them that are eager to prove that they deserve to be there. Like how does it feel now in comparison to like this time last year where you were an assistant coach?
I mean, to be honest, it feels the same, not gonna lie. Like our philosophy of Apex is a family org, so we want to have an open space for everyone, you know. And we're, as I said, like we're a unit. That was last year as well, and it's this year, you know. It's feeling like the same, you know. Everyone are super open. Where there is a problem, we always discuss it, you know, openly. Nobody is afraid to express themselves, and that's what moves the team forward in the end, in my opinion, you know. So I'm really happy that we managed to build that, because this is built, you know. You don't get that for free. You need to build it with the right persons.
For sure. You've got so many like great players on your team, like some like Soulcast, who's had probably MVP of the whole stage. He was MVP of groups, but has continued at bringing in players like Kayak. Yeah, but it's like even like Evolva was having a lot of fun, it felt today, with some of the clutch moments. You could highlight everybody individually, but I want to specifically talk about Hype, because he's a player that has been in tier 2 for ages, has been in tier 1 briefly in spats here, there and everywhere. Like, what is it that he has brought to the team? Because it feels like he should be amongst the Soulcasts and Evolvas name-wise to be like, yeah, this guy deserves to be in tier 1 EMEA.
I think like he's unleashed right now, you know. He had an amazing game. I'm really happy with his performance recently, and I think like the atmosphere is giving the players confidence, you know, to believe in themselves, to trust their teammates, and this is how players shine, you know. When you have good environment where we're on the same page always, and yeah, we have this controlled freedom in our team where we can do crazy stuff, but not so much, right? And yeah.
I think final question then, because you talked about like the scrims that you're having against like tier 1 teams, looking at Ascension, like at this point, is it taking the foot off the brakes a little bit now that you've won the stage? You've got a couple of weeks before stage 2 starts up again, or are you like, this is the part where we can't get complacent? Like, what is Apex going to be like over the next month when it comes to preparation? Are you gonna have a bit of a break because you've been going hard, or is this just kind of the beginning?
I mean, we're going to take some time off right now after this final, but the goal stay the same. It's nothing going to change for us. We want to be better every day, and this is going to be until September. As I said to my players, we need to be at our best in September. We don't need to be now. We need to be at our best in Split 2, because this is where everything is going to matter a lot, you know. And the goal is like this, you know. We evolve. We get better every day, and that's it.
Very fair. congratulations again, not only winning the grand final, but like making history by not dropping a map the whole stage. Like, enjoy your time off, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you very soon in stage 2.
Thank you for having me, guys, and see you again in Split 2.
See you in Split 2.
See you. Bye-bye.
Oh man, it's always nice to see like Danny as well, because I know him from before he was coaching Apex as well. So like seeing players and people like climb up the scene like that is fantastic, really. But we're not quite done. I think when it comes to like looking at the series, there's a couple of other things that we want to highlight, not only from how well like Apex looked in a lot of those rounds, but I do want to give Sweet and Sour their roses a little bit. Like, it was a dominant like final that they ended up losing, but still, expectations. This is an unsigned team that has zero expectation playing in Polaris up until this split, and a top 2 finish, no matter how that final goes, is still a hell of a testament to how good these guys are.
Yeah, you have to give them credit, right? And it's super annoying that we have so much unsigned talent in Polaris. It's so difficult to be able to actually get an organization's attention, right? But I feel like if Sweet and Sour can find some form of backing and can get some form of structure behind them, not saying they're unstructured, but from an org's point of view, right? If there is that little bit of extra motivation, I think these guys could definitely go all the way. Potentially when Apex have moved out, but you know, I reckon
when,
next,
not if.
When.
Yeah,
no, I reckon they could probably top this once Apex have moved out.
Yeah, I wanted to say real quick as well is the fact that they're scrimming other top 2 teams like from the other like challengers leagues. I mean, they're not afraid to sort of show themselves up against regions that they might be playing for Ascension.
Yeah, in Ascension.
The other thing too, it was mentioned today by Tomic. I don't know why I'm naming people from like government IDing people from Riot. John Riot announced that there is going to be play-ins for EMEA Ascension this year. So like Sweet and Sour in a good position to play for that. And honestly, with how like surprisingly strong that they can look with this little like prep time, I suppose, like play-ins could be something to definitely keep an eye on for those guys in the future.
Yeah, it's like the focus of last year, right? Obviously moved to Zach now, but they obviously took the second spot from our region and they won play-ins.
For sure, but
they're so talented, right? They're so talented, and obviously we unfortunately don't have them in our league anymore. We might see them in Ascension, but yeah, no, Sweet and Sour definitely have what it takes to make play-ins and show us why they deserve that second spot.
For sure. I think when it comes to like the scoreline looking pretty dominant, I wanted to highlight a couple of rounds that maybe were closer than like the scoreline might suggest, and especially the first 2, round 6 and round 7, just how close Sweet and Sour got to being able to defuse these spikes. First and foremost, this like post plant that Apex were doing with the Sage Wall planting in his corner, and even the Viper's Pit that follows, was really nice. And I'm surprised that like Sweet and Sour brought it as close as they did, and just watch how close that defuse gets.
No, I know, obviously like a wasted res there, but I suppose just like it's more of just an annoyance, right? Having to deal with that person that has just been revived. And Thrash comes back online any second now, and honestly, I think it's good spatial awareness from Apex here not to be grouped up, because look, Thrash incoming gets 1 detained, I think that is. Maybe, yeah, no, just 1. Like, imagine if they all get detained, right? Like, it's, I mean, we saw it recently, maybe even today, I think, in Pacific, I believe, in that T1 game. It was like 4 people get detained on a post plant. It's such a ideal ult for situations
Scary
like that. Yeah, but it's the space, right? The space from Apex was good.
Yeah, and this is another one where Sweet and Sour are on a low buy. They do quite a lot of damage. Hype comes in with a flank, and just at this point, it's that Famsam already is halfway on the defuse, and Navova just manages to get there. And I think like seeing Navova get back into that form is great. This round was just like the brutality of it. Aethan again on an eco. Sweet and Sour making us like lower buy rounds work a lot more, but it's Malsey this time that's gone full flank. Just the freedom and creativity that Apex were bringing out was just the deciding factor to stop Sweet and Sour really getting much done.
For sure, we even called it just hit. We were like, Malsey's probably going to win this 2 versus 1, right? Obviously Creamy's 1 HP, so finding the kill here might be a better chance. It's just unfortunate that, well, he was 1 HP, so firing for a smoke in that situation is you're done for, right? He was in a position that was pretty much unwinnable.
Pretty much, yeah. When it comes to like some of those close rounds for Sweet and Sour, you could probably take loads from Lotus and Icebox as well, with the Ninja defuse in the very first round of this grand final. Yeah. But I did want to sort of talk about like what was going really well, I think, with Apex. This was around sort of towards the end where I think that they had like really driven their confidence into Sweet and Sour, especially when they were playing on their defense. It's the multi-kill, but specifically I want you to look at where the Viper is on the minimap, top left-hand corner, over on the B site. Watch where a snakebite comes in.
He runs to that corner specifically just to chuck it here to land there, and I think it's like a millimeter away from actually making him vulnerable. Together with the Dizzy combo as well, like that just solidifies why Apex have just had such a flawless split, because of little things like that.
For sure. And when you look at how this has gone, it couldn't have been much cleaner, I think, for Apex in the end, all things considered. And ultimately, Sweet and Sour rematch, tough time, but they managed to claw back and improve against the likes of OnlyFins to be making top 2 in the rematch that they had against them. But in a grand final, when Apex has not dropped a map, like look at how dominant it's been on maps like Sunset, Icebox. They haven't shown any split, but honestly, that could be something that we'll see in stage 2. Maps like Bind and Breeze, I'm pretty sure were maps Apex had picked. These aren't like maps that they're trying to avoid. They're pretty much playing the full scope of the game right now. And kind of like Danito was saying, it's almost like they're just looking past Polaris to an extent, playing up against the tier 1 teams, probably beating some of the tier 1 teams in scrims, let's be honest, right? With like the state of EMEA in some cases. So realistically, like Apex have set themselves up fantastically for stage 2, for Ascension and beyond, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show, right? We didn't even need to see a flawless split from Apex to even say that these guys were at the top of their game, because even if you drop a map, right, we're not going to judge them for dropping a map. Like, wow, how could you drop a map, Brian? how could you drop one map?
Disband the team when it happens, kind of vibes. Yeah,
like roster changes come in, there's no way we lost a map. But look, I just want to quickly, before obviously we wrap this up, I do want to just give credit to Sweet and Sour, unsigned team. They are obviously looking for an organization. They haven't even got a coach, guys. They haven't even got a coach. So when it comes to someone even being able to see the game from a third-person point of view, they haven't got that, right? So
yeah, they called more timeouts than Apex did, by the way.
Yeah,
like they didn't even have a coach. Danito's just sat back, reclined,
just chilling, like full chill. But yeah, no, we have to give them credit, right? And they had a phenomenal. Oh god, I'm not gonna say that word. A wonderful series.
There you go.
A wonderful series, and yeah, we have to give them that credit.
For sure. I think when it comes to like final things to say, are there any things that you just want to add on to the end of this? Like, I'd say Quell Surprise, business as usual. Maybe the way that Apex won out this series and didn't drop a map was more surprising than the fact that they did it at all, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. That is 100% more surprising. And also, we have to also give the credit to the other teams as well throughout, right? OnlyFins, yes, they may have made some changes that maybe cost them that lower bracket, but fantastic cover, especially OnlyFins making that miracle run as well. Like, they weren't even looking to qualify at the start of that season with how bad they started, and then they just pulled it back, right? Fantastic from them. And you've got people like Metasport as well. You know, they gave it their all. There was definitely some good things from Metasport, but at the end of the day, right, when you're coming up against Apex, it's very, very difficult to show your stuff.
Most definitely. When it comes to other things to keep an eye on, it's going to be a couple of weeks, roughly around before the start of Masters Shanghai, that we're going to have Stage 2 coming back. But before then, we have our promo Relo tournament. So we have two teams, Hookah's Formulation Gaming, dropping down into a bit of a dog battle between some teams that have come through the Beacon event, but also for the first time, teams from Premier, the in-game like tournament system. Some of those teams will be playing for playoffs this week, and the top 4 from them will be joining, playing in for the tournament. And out of the 4 teams from Premier, the 4 teams from Beacon, and obviously our Hookahs and Formulation Gaming, 2 of those teams are going to come back and actually get promoted back into the main stage, which we'll see alongside Apex, Sweet and Sour, and the rest of our ragtag group of Northern European teams. So it's definitely going to be interesting to watch when we see teams like Sweet and Sour do as much damage as we have seen here. Keeping an eye on the new prospective talent, especially those that haven't come through like the normal tournament kind of system. Yeah, that's the thing to definitely keep the eye on. I'm very excited to see those 2 worlds collide to an extent.
Yeah, we have so much talent like coming up through, right? And it's it's again, I suppose you could even class Sweet and Sour as one of those teams that came up from, because they started from, they made their way all the way up through
like Beacon. They were invited from winning a Beacon tournament, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
exactly. And for them to come second, you know, like that's what we mean by we have so much upcoming talent, right? And look, we might even see like you said, see some of that during Split 2, which does start May the 16th.
For sure. I think final things that I want to say, like, we've come out of the very cold winter here in Northern Europe, and it's exciting to see things warm up. You can obviously follow us all on the socials, but now North Star's sort of leading us to stage 2. We got Eclipse before then, but Ascension, play-ins, all that kind of stuff, just on the horizon. Apex seem ready. What kind of other teams could we see maybe potentially get to that same level? So we'll see you in a couple of weeks for Eclipse, and until then, take care. We'll see you soon.
Look what you done. Took a little woman and turned her into stone. I guess I should be thankful. You gone to shoot you with your mouth full. I should've run. Once I figured out that you can't work your tongue. I guess I should be grateful. You're gone, I mean that shit was painful. Like I said, I'm really glad you're gone, but I'm sad to see what I've become. I was burning like a girl on fire. Then you came around and put it out. You really made me think we were lovers. I let you in and underneath my covers. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now. What a bummer. You really played my heart like a drummer. Mentally drained me, kinda like a plumber. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now. What a bummer, bummer, yeah. Who you think you are? Literally no one, if we're being honest. I guess you should be thankful. You got to spend time with an angel. You think about me, dream about me when you're asleep. Then you wake up so empty, so cold, just like me. You really made me think we were lovers. I let you in and underneath my covers. All I wanted was a hot girl summer, but I'm a cold bitch now. What a bummer. You really played my heart like a drummer. Mentally drained me, kinda like a plumber. Baby, I don't need you to tell me you were wrong. Swear my mind erased you the moment we were done. All out of me, you're all out of me. I'm finally free, it's all good. I'll be fine, and you keep on breaking hearts for fun. 1, 2, 3. I don't wanna see your face again, and I'll never let you near my friends. It's a shame that this is how it ends, but I wanna say thank you for nothing, 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 nothing. I wanna say thank you for nothing, 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 nothing. I wanna say thank you for nothing. Shame on me,
I've been giving you the worst of me. Now you wanna stay tonight. Pretty how you work hard for me, but forgetting how to talk. Nah, I don't like no humble beats. Just go and slice it up. Now it's time to marinate. And right after we're done, I like it when you're looking like that. Don't like it when you shit, chat shit. I like it when you're looking like that. Or shy, just fine, don't mind my reaction. I like it when you look like that. Don't wanna watch a bugger with a white mouth. Just like it when you're looking like that. No sweets, no rush, can't fight my attraction. Don't think twice, I'm here for a moment. No, I like him better. I got a church place somewhere, and I'll make it last forever. I've been giving you the worst.